Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are listening from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. Good night, good evening, what time ever it is, wherever you are. For those who are in South Africa, good night to you in London, England. It's the middle of the night in London, England as we speak. Good morning to you. We're coming to you this tonight with the Make We Talk Current Affair program. My special guest will be none other than Mystic Sensation, Corporal Rohan James, Robert Finzi-Smith, Head Boy, and the lone woman in the room, Miss Marie. She will be on the program tonight pertaining, we're going to speak about the issues facing our country, the upcoming general election, and Andrew Holness Statutory Declaration. We're going to speak about that tonight. But before I go into that, I want to ask you to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Send this all over the place. We're live right now. It's the Make We Talk Current Affair program. And we're going to have a robust discussion tonight. I just want everyone to come on. I can't take any call now. I'm on a live. I can't take any call now. I'm just starting the program. I'm not going to open the phone lines for tonight. All right. Well, I don't know. I'll find out. Yes. Good night to everyone. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night to everybody who's coming on. I want to say good night to everybody who's coming on to the program tonight. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. And let us all have a robust discussion tonight. I want to speak to you about something before the program starts, though. Jamaicans for Justice is having a protest tomorrow. And they're encouraging all Jamaicans to wear black. in protest against the judicial killing of the, police officers killing Jamaicans. And they're having a protest tomorrow. The Jamaica Labour Party and Fontana Pharmacy is saying that Jamaicans must wear blue in solidarity of the police. I'd like to ask the question tonight. Is it that we are I'm looking for a word here to use. Is it that Fontana Pharmacy and the Jamaica Labour Party is saying to the Jamaican people that we are in solidarity with the police officers beating that 15-year-old, beating that old man? And other killings happening in this country? Is it that Senator Marlon Morgan is saying to the Jamaican people tonight that go out there and wear blue? We don't care what wanna happen to you. If the police even beat your mother tonight, that's nothing. I beat your mother tomorrow, that's nothing. Let me make something clear. There are some good policemen and women in the JCF. And you have some of them who don't fit to be in the JCF. All right? I don't see Senator Morgan or anybody. The only person he came out and condemned the beating of that school, a 15-year-old schoolboy, was Senator Donna Scott Motley. I don't see anybody of the Jamaica Labour Party. I don't see Senator Morgan came out and speak about it. And there's a video circulating on social media also with this old man who could have been my father. And the Jamaican police officers from JCF see it fit to take out the baton and beat the old man. You don't hear the chairman of Fontana Pharmacy, Dennis O'Brien Chong, came out and condemned those things. I am in solidarity with Jamaicans for justice. I'm in solidarity with Jamaicans who decide to join the peaceful protest tomorrow with Jamaicans for justice and wear black. I should have started wearing black from tonight. The fundamental issue we face in this country is that for far too long, we have extrajudicial killing in this country by the police officers. And there's a portion of Jamaicans don't get any justice in this country. We get no justice at all. I see we're in the startup back the case with Noel Maitland and Donnelly Donaldson. And they're saying that the witness, one of the witnesses, going to be testifying from overseas. You know, if the justice system in this country do not give Donnelly Donaldson's family the justice that they deserve, it'll be a dark day in the history of this country. If the justice system don't give the family members of those who had gone on before and those who went missing, and until now they're gone without a trace and nothing has been done. And when you see a hierarchy member of the Jamaican Parliament a senator is coming out in solidarity of the police killing in this country. When you see a member of the Jamaican Senate coming out in solidarity of police beating Jamaican citizens, we're in some dark days in this country. When you see politicians coming out in solidarity of what is going on in this country when it comes on to police killings, that we, the Jamaican people, must wear blue. I wonder where Senator Morgan mind his mind is. It seems that Senator Morgan don't see what is going on in this country. Or is that Senator Morgan don't give a flying kahuna of what is going on? This nation is in crisis. And when you have police officers in this country believe that they have the law unto themselves and they can go around and kick down people's door and get in there without a warrant, or beat the Jamaican citizens because they come from below Crossroad, and people like Marlon Morgan refuse to come out and condemn it, and they're asking for a third term in this country from the Jamaican people. Imagine if there should be a protest in Jamaica of what we see going on in Guyana. Then Marlon Morgan will tell the police, shoot and ask questions after. Like what the Jamaica's world-class Minister of National Security and Injustice, Twiddly Dum-Dum, Dr. Harris Chan, has told the members of the JCF to shoot and ask questions after. Is this the nation that we call for 2030 vision? Let me bring on in my good friend, Mystic Sensation, while I finish my opening remarks here. Mystic, welcome to the program.
Well, Jeffrey, thank you for welcoming me, and I want to say, a big respect to all your audience and your ardent listeners, right?
And some of your students are over here too, you know.
Yes, so yes, Jeffrey, thank you to invite me on your program.
Yes.
All right.
You know, as I wrap up my opening remarks about what is going on in this country, there is an audio that I want to play this afternoon here that I got off Jamaica's famous radio station. And everybody know who that famous radio station is. You sit down in this country. And when we hear politicians agreeing with police brutality in this country, let's just show you that Jamaica has become a dictatorial state. When you have politicians who are saying that Jamaicans must wear black or blue rather, in solidarity of the police beating the 15-year-old, in solidarity of the police breaking down a person's door and shoot them cold-blooded in this country. And those are the people who believe that they must come out and ask the Jamaican people for a third term. Jamaicans, as I said before on this platform, this election is one of the most consequential elections in the history of this country. And I say to you all tonight, get up, organize, get ready to vote. I will not tell you who to vote for, but we need to vote. And I will say to Jamaicans tonight, rally behind Jamaicans for Justice. Go out there and wear blue, wear black, I say to the Jamaicans tonight, my fellow Jamaicans, rally behind Jamaicans for justice and wear the color black. In solidarity of many Jamaicans who have been gunned down in this country by the security forces who said that they will uphold and defend the constitution of this country. Go out there and wear black in solidarity of Keith Clark, who was gunned down, was assassinated by the state of Jamaica. Mr. Clark got 25 bullets in his back. And nothing comes out of it. And you have people like Dennis O'Brien Chung, who is saying to the Jamaican people, they must go out there and wear blue in solidarity of the police. Where is Mr. Chung when the police beat that young man, that 15-year-old schoolboy? Where was Kevin O'Brien Chung? I don't hear you speak out against it. And so many other things that goes on in this country. Because the Jamaican people don't have the money to hire high-class lawyers. Because we live below crossroad. And when you have a person like Senator Marlon Morgan, who's going to come out and tell the Jamaican people to wear blue, you hear nothing from Senator Morgan about that 15-year-old and about this man that is being beaten. But before I come on and start this program officially and have my good friend Mystic Sensation give his opening remarks and also Head Boy, I want to play this thing here for you. Because people may say, Jeffrey, you come on here and you just yap. I want you to listen to this for me.
Clear lines are emerging this afternoon as civil society group Jamaicans for Justice JFJ get ready to take to the streets of the corporate area to protest against an increase in police fatal shootings. 106 Jamaicans have been killed by the security forces since the start of the year. That's more than 100% increase in police killings. This has prompted an outcry from the prominent civil society group. They're urging Jamaicans to wear black tomorrow to voice their dissatisfaction with the increase in fatal shootings. But the governing Jamaica Labour Party JLP and corporate heavyweight Fontana Pharmacy are throwing their support behind the men and women of law enforcement. They're urging Jamaicans to wear blue and stand with the police. Mahiri Stewart reports.
The JFJ's End Police Violence protest is in response to an increase in police fatal shootings since the start of the year. Government Senator Marlon Morgan says Jamaicans must stand in solidarity with the JCF.
While the JCF and its members are not above criticism, at a time when Jamaica is registering historic and welcomed reductions in murders and other major crimes, the interest of the country will be better served by constructively criticizing the police instead of tearing them down. I am urging well-thinking and law-abiding Jamaicans to rally behind the police and motivate them by wearing blue on Tuesday, April 29. At the same time, I'm imploring the public to shun actions and utterances that may serve to demoralize and demotivate our policemen and women.
The JCF has noted that it will monitor the protest as a precautionary measure. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, reports that 106 people have been killed by the security forces as at April 28. That's 62 more than the 44 individuals INDICOM says were killed up to April 20 last year. It's a 141% increase in police fatal shootings when compared to the corresponding period last year. So far, 25 of those killed were in April alone. That's 16 more than the 9 recorded in April last year. The number of police fatal shootings has drawn criticisms from some advocacy groups, including JFJ and INDICOM, who have called for the JCF to be held accountable. But that has been met with strong resistance by sections of the public who have praised the JCF for ridding the streets of who they call violence producers. Senator Morgan says the work of the JCF should not be denounced.
Given the scourge of criminality, and in particular violent crime, with which Jamaica has had to grapple over many years, there can be no denying that our police men and women work under very tough and trying circumstances. The efforts and energies of all well-thinking and law-abiding Jamaicans should be focused on supporting and encouraging our hard-working policemen and women, not tearing them down. It is quite heartening and should not be overlooked that a culture of accountability is increasingly being fostered by the JCF.
Mahiri still.
There you have it. Mr. Morgan is encouraging Jamaicans to go out and wear blue, in solidarity of a security force who swear to serve and protect the people of this country. But a security force where the people who rules the security force has told the security men and women of the JCF and the JDF, shoot the black Jamaican black boy and black girl them and ask question after. They are the same people that this Prime Minister is asking for a third term. By the way, I get to understand the Prime Minister is coming to New York and he's selling a plate of food for $3,000. Either 3,000 US or 2,000 something US. And you have some hypocrites in the Jamaican diaspora who is supporting the idea of them coming and milking the diaspora for the political gain. Well, there's a young lady who wants help at UWI. And the same hypocritical diaspora don't see it fit to help this young lady. And you have some of them in the diaspora who will go around and beg her to buy a ticket from them. And when you put it to them that the people of our country need help, all they think about is their party. Their party is the beginning and the ending of Jamaica. They don't think about this country or the people of this country. So the Prime Minister is coming on a political campaign again in New York. And this time, the plate of food is for $3,000. In today's Observer, a young lady is in need. Make her find it here. Come, bear with me, Mystic Sensation and Head Boy. Bear with me, please. A young lady in today's Observer need couple thousand to do an eye surgery. And those members of the Jamaican diaspora don't see it fit to help this young lady here. I can show it to you. Don't see it fit to assist this young lady. There she is. Her family is appealing for support to cover $2.8 million eye surgery. But the hypocrites of the Jamaican diaspora see it fit to organize, to put on a dinner for Jamaica's world-class Prime Minister. Want to see how hypocritical majority of the people of the Jamaican diaspora are? That's why they don't like me and I don't beg nobody nothing. I don't care. This young lady is in need of $2.8 million Jamaican dollars to do an eye surgery. But those in the Jamaican diaspora see it fit to host this Prime Minister. Because he's coming up on a campaign trail to spread some more lies. And when you go to ask questions, you're being barred from asking questions. They don't embarrass him. But you know what? Let's not go down that road tonight. Good evening, Tigo. How are you doing? Let's take this off the thing here. That is on my mind tonight. This nation is in crisis. Let's welcome my good friend, Mystic Sensation and Head Boy. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Mystic, I'll start out with you. Give your opening remarks to the people of this country.
Okay, thank you for that, Jeffrey. So based on what we have seen here as it relates to the situation that is unfolding that you had spoken about earlier, right? But you ask yourself that after 9 years, right, as it relates to Jamaica Labour Party at the helm of our politics, and has no growth in the economy, after 9 years, rampant corruption, right, and after 9 years, you have majority of our Jamaicans are not safe. So then I am not surprised in terms of, the JLP itself, that obviously is a rogue government as a result of, the level of atrocities within the Jamaicans' sphere. And so then when you see situations like that, a Jamaica Labour Party strategy is just easily to be understood as it relates to how they move forward into the general election. And so then one of the things that the Jamaica Labour Party is currently focusing on is to create as much mayhem in the society. And by doing so, right, they want to might be pushed to extend the general election or some form of strategy, right, that they want to utilize in staying power. Now, let me say this. The Jamaican people, majority of the Jamaican people, and particularly, right, the strong voting bloc as it relates to the poor and the middle class, because they are the ones who really make up the very strong voting bloc, right? Here you have a prime minister as it relates to 21%, right, that voted. And so then, by that means, he's a very unpopular as it relates to the entire electoral bloc. Now, where you have the People's National Party can show fundamental history and record of performance as it relates to the 18 years that they always talk about. And even when you show the apparent record in their face, they tend to deny it. The amount of social programs that had created under the leadership of P.J. Patterson, and in extension, Portia Simpson. And if you want to make a comparison and you ask, what has the Andrew Holness administration monumentally had achieved? Unfortunately, nothing to show. Nothing to show. Can anyone show one social program since the Jamaica Labour Party in power for 9 years, right? To show to Jamaican people that, okay, this social program created by the Jamaica Labour Party. Nothing whatsoever. And so then, obviously, what the people have received from this administration is plain outright mayhem and chaos, right? There's so many, corruption that plague this Jamaica Labour Party administration, from nepotism, cronyism, skullduggery. The Jamaica Labour Party tried to legitimize a Ponzi scheme, which is SSL, right, where the Prime Minister himself involved, right? And it is I mean, it is a dire shame, right? I mean, it is really despicable. So then what we have right now is the Jamaica Labour Party administration is trying everything by any means necessary, in terms of my understanding to what they are doing. By any means necessary, they want to hold on to power. And they want to hold on to power, not in the interest of moving the nation forward or doing the people's business. No, they are not there to do the people's business. But of course, they want to maintain being in power simply to avoid themselves from going to prison. They know very well that, of course, if the People's National Party, or when the People's National Party, right, become victorious, obviously, for most of the ministries, they are going to be a forensic audit. And trust me, I can guarantee you, in terms of what we know, that the Jamaican society is going to be alarmed, right, after so much wrongs, right, and catastrophe of the Jamaica Labour Party administration. And I yield back for our head boy to take the space.
Thank you very much, Mystic Sensation. Head boy, you there? Head boy.
Yes, I am definitely here. Good night to you,
Go ahead, sir. Your opening remarks tonight, sir.
Mr. Mystic Sensation. I want to come. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear from Negril
Can you
Point
hear
to
me?
Moran Point, and those in the parliament and
Yes,
those.
Jeffrey, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear from Negril Point to Galena Head Mountain.
1 2 1
And-
2. Can you hear me?
Yes, man.
I am hearing you loud and clear. You hearing us? Head boy, are you hearing us?
Okay, good. Yes, man. I'm
We're
hearing
hearing
you
you
from
loud
Negril
and clear,
Point to
man.
Moran Point.
Even Fair Royal, we're going
Yes,
on
man.
things
I'm
at
hearing you
Fair Royal
from
hearing
Negril
you.
Point to Moran Point.
Yes, man. The drop of them in a Fair Royal hearing you too. Head boy, go ahead. Unmute your mic. Oh Lord. It seems that the Fair Royal drop of the take over head boy thing. Until we sort out head boy, we're supposed to be joining us by Robert Finzi-Smith and also head boy.
Yes, Jeffrey. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear, but you're very low, man. It seems as if Pegasus take over.
No, I am actually changing my location because my signal seems to be much better in this room here.
Right. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right.
Your opening remarks in the program here tonight.
Right. Once again, let me extend good night to Mr. Mystic Sensation for doing an incredible job. It's good to see a fellow, somebody I have the greatest respect for. And certainly, I want to start out by saying, Jeffrey,
Thank you for
that
that,
I can, of course, my brother, I can say I can concur with some of what Mr. Mystic Sensation said, in that we are now having discussions, for example, and I want to set the context of our discussion this evening, that we are now seeing two elections, and I think Mystic is actually waiting on the close of polls in Canada to see what will be the outcome of those elections.
Oh, yes.
And also in Trinidad and Tobago, we're having an election in Trinidad and Tobago, a very contested one, and that election typically has an indication of what might happen in Jamaica. If you remember, in 2020, the incumbent remained in Trinidad, so happened in Jamaica as well. But the margin of victory was only 19 to the UNC, the opposition, and 22 to the People's National Movement. Now, in that vein, I want to say that what we're having now and having the discussions about elections, I want to frame my discourse around the discussions on eligibility, because I think it is now high time for us to examine the requirement for persons to enter parliament, not in an attempt to make it become an apartheid approach where you limit people from certain class, but what we're asking for is persons who have certain class, meaning that they must possess integrity. They must sign the code of conduct, the Integrity Commission Code of Conduct. And obviously, we must have impeachment legislation for parliamentarians. So with that, I'll yield to you, Jeffrey, and allow you to have the remaining of the discussion.
Okay, there's two discussions we're going to speak about tonight. The other discussion will be presented by our good friend Mystic Sensation. He has been doing an in-depth work on that, and is the statutory declaration of the Prime Minister of this country, who is seeking a third term from the Jamaican people. I am still waiting on Sir Finzi-Smith to come on because he has a history to give us about elections in this country. As you all know, Mystic, that election is near in Jamaica. And we need to give a history of the elections in our country. In 1980, we had a bloody election in this country that I know of. And from ever since I know myself, they keep on saying that political party have been selling votes in this country to the Jamaican people. I can't prove none of that, but it stink from ever since. You Mystic?
Yes, that narrative has been out there and has been proven, particularly under this administration. Right, you have seen many attempts, right, under this administration as it relates to buying of votes by various means, right? But let us not fool ourselves as it relates to, as I said earlier, that the Jamaica Labour Party administration is really a rogue government. And so then we are not to expect that they are going to act as, the way how a government to act in terms of the protection and safety of its people. Now, when you see, and let me just shift a bit here. When you see a government, right, going against, Jamaica for justice as it relates to human rights abuse, and you have seen that there are, clear evidence in several cases where police men had gone into the homes of individuals, right? And if anyone in the home, right, those persons have been separated from the target that they proceed to go towards. And after those persons ask to exit that particular area, right, then you hear the sound of gunshot. And, definitely the police will always have a narrative to say that they confront shootout and where the community speak otherwise, to the contrary of that. But apart from community persons speaking out, we have clear evidence, CCTV captured evidence, right, where policemen, not in any shootout. And this is what we are talking about in terms of how the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police try to spin the narrative, right, and to make it political, where it is not a political situation. You're talking about human rights abuse. You're talking about that your policemen, some of your policemen, right, is now rogued, right, and operating out of the context of the law. There is nowhere in the law that, legislate where a policeman should be judge, jury, and executioner. Nowhere. And so then, in spite of, let us say, the worst case scenario, that you may have someone commit, right, the worst, right, crime, right, just speaking hypothetically here, and you catch that person, remember, as it relates to the law, that person did not commit an offense against you, commit an offense against the state. And then there are prescribed laws as it relates to how you deal with the process. And that is one of the reasons why we have a criminal justice system that divided in 3 parts, right? Different areas deal with different circumstances. If you look on the investigation arm of the criminal justice system, the police are there to investigate, and skillful and talented policeman has the responsibility to investigate, gather the evidence, protect the scene, preserve the evidence. You understand? And when I talk about the entire chain of evidence and how you store evidence and how you present these evidence in case to ensure that, of course, you achieve, right, that sort of conviction that you're aiming for. Now, also, apart from the investigative arm, you have the prosecution that will work in tandem with, right, investigators. And so to speak, both prosecutors and investigators are supposed to work in tandem in terms of, dealing with a particular case, especially when we talk about high-profile cases, right? And where, that sort of collaboration, right, there between prosecutor and the investigator, collect those evidence that need to be collected, preserve them, right, as it ought to be preserved, and have these cases put into the judiciary. For now, the judiciary to determine, our well-learned judge, we have a solid jurisprudence, our well-learned judge will determine the case based on its merit. So when you have, right, the government, right, who see the clear and present danger, right, of the what the policemen are doing as it relates to extrajudiciary killing, and that the government is endorsing it, and not only endorsing it, in some, instances, the government is sending message, right, to policemen and women that they can carry out these actions. So then the Commissioner of Police must not deny the fact that what we are speaking about, and not to, and this is it now. Here you have Senator Morgan is trying to set up, right, the citizen and the police. It is clear enough in terms of what Jamaica for Justice is dealing with. We don't want to confuse the situation. Don't confuse the situation, Mr. Morgan. The situation is clear and simple. What is the objective of Jamaica for Justice? Jamaica for Justice is speaking out against extrajudiciary killings. Do we have evidence of that, Mr. Morgan? Yes, we do. So let me ask you a question, particularly, Mr. Morgan. Do you agree that the policeman having someone in their custody and where there is no arm aim at the police, and where the police can have that person apprehended, taken into custody, and processed accordingly, and let that person face the judiciary? Do you agree, Mr. Morgan, that that police should execute that person? Because actually that is what you are saying, Mr. Morgan. That is what you are defending. Because what we are concerned about, what JFJ is concerned about, is when the policeman have someone in custody. And let us speak now. In spite of what that person may have done, put it the worst case scenario that the person just killed 12 persons.
Hold on there for me, Mystic. I'm gonna make a talk. Hold on there for me.
Yes.
I'm gonna make something clear to the person in the chat room who said that they are Juliet Holness. To the person in the chat room who is saying that they are Juliet Holness. You run the Labour Party. You don't run this channel. And you can threaten all you want, threaten, you know, block the channel. That's your business. I will make it clear to you tonight. Whatever idiot it is, you ain't gonna shut this mouth up. Now, none of us on this platform. What you need to do is come and Block them, of course. Block them. I dare them to block this channel. Go ahead for me, Mystic.
Yes. So we are not to get the situation twisted of the objectives, right, relating to JFJ and what we here on social media, right, is ventilating. We are ventilating extrajudiciary killing, right? And so then for the police force to be going on a march and want to oppose that and want for Jamaica to stand in solidarity with them. What is it that the government is sending? What sort of message? That the Jamaican people must endorse extrajudiciary killing? We can't. We can't. There's no civilized society is going to do that. No society, as it relates to the means of democracy, right, is going to do that. We are not a primitive society. Let me talk to Andrew Holness. We are not a primitive society, sir. We are a civilized society. And what does that mean? That means we must act in a civil manner. And having said that, there are laws, prescribed laws, that the policemen and women have to follow. And so then, in the pursuit of any criminal or any potential criminal, and you have them in your custody, we are saying that the appropriate processes need to be followed, and of those persons face the judge, right? But for the policemen and women who decided that they are going to be judge, juror, and executioner, that is a fundamental wrong. That's human rights abuse. And I can't endorse something like that. And the Jamaican people are not to endorse something like that. And I yield back.
Thank you. I have with me now Major Robert Finzi-Smith, security consultant, one of Jamaica's eldest, I would say, statesman of all time, with history that we almost learned from him. And I will try my endeavor best to see if I can get some of the history from him to keep in my archive. Because honestly, when you listen to Robert Finzi-Smith, you learn a lot from this man. Mr. Smith, welcome to the program, sir. Unmute your mic for me. Bobby?
I don't think Bobby is hearing you.
Not hearing me at
Finzi,
all.
Sir Finzi, unmute your mic.
All right, head boy, you take over. Let me see if I can get a hold of him.
Absolutely. You know where I want to pick up, and I'm glad that Sir Finzi is here because I wanted to have given an historical context. Because the question you asked was in relation to vote buying, and I want to thank Mr. Barron for dealing with the issue. So the contemporary issue today of human rights versus the police. But what I want to look at is historically, if we look at in the 1960s, in 1966, a state of emergency was declared in the Kingston West area. That is the first time in our political history we were having a state of emergency being declared. We had some tensions that was flaring up in the 1953-54 era, that you had the great Dudley
Thompson.
You know that Dudley Thompson that was actually presiding over Kingston Western seat at the time. So when people talk about the 1980s, and Edward Seaga gave the famous speech, blood for blood, fire for fire. Yes? And if we understand that, so the history of political violence in Jamaica started around that era when the Labour Party, through Edward Seaga, attempted to take off a less social class, a social class, particular social class, the Rastafarians from out of Bacawal. And when he attempted to do that, that was when the garrisonization politics was introduced effectively to Jamaica by creating what we now call Tivoli Gardens. But as I go quickly, because I want Mr. Finzi to jump in, the truth be told is if we look at this issue of vote buying, and why I say to the People's National Party, don't be worried about vote buying. And let me tell you why. A matter of fact, and I've always heard mystics purport the policy that if don't support vote buying, but if them give the money, take it and vote the right way. And let me tell you why. It will be the plundering, they have plundered the state. And there's a thing in life called karma, right? And in this election, they're so worried that they will definitely be coming out with the goodies in terms of the funds that they would normally spend on election day. Now, when you look at the two by-elections, the one in Town and the one in Eastern St. Thomas, which was virtually a test election for this year. Because remember, you had the local government elections in February, then you had that by-election in virtually there around October, that the PNP didn't contest the general election by-elections, but the constituency by-elections, but the local government elections. So when you really look at it, what you see is a PNP who was able to stand up against money, was able to motivate its supporters to stand up against money. So I want to tell you, in 2011, the JLP had more money than the PNP leading up to the election. And the PNP was still able to overcome the JLP, which is to repeated that it is 42 votes they defeated the JLP by. They got over the JLP's 21 that election. So the point that I'm making is history have a historical way of reminding us, life has a historical way of reminding us that if you watch the data, and Jamaica is poised for that takeoff, and no amount of vote buying or money or inducements can change what the Jamaican people are feeling. And I yield to the rest of the panel.
Sir Robert Finzi-Smith, Major, can you unmute your mic for us, please, and let us see you? We want to hear from you now, sir. Are you there with us, sir? Sir Robert Finzi-Smith? What is going on here tonight? For those who are just joining us, welcome to the program. We are discussing the upcoming general election, and after that, we're going to discuss Andrew Holness Statutory Declaration with my good friend, Mystic Sensation. But we're here speaking about the upcoming general election and also the protest that is being done by Jamaicans for Justice tomorrow. Jamaicans, you're urged to wear black, not blue. Black, but hold on for me. Black, not blue. So, Bobby?
I think the Major is with us.
I ended up on the program twice. Let me get to them one of them.
I just did it for you. I just did it for you. Uh-oh. Where Bobby disappeared to?
He's back on.
Unmute your mic again, Sir Bobby. I think he deleted the one that he's supposed to be on, you know. Anyway, until we get him to come on. Mystic, you have been around a long while. And the upcoming general election in Jamaica. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Okay, let me take this out of here. The Smith.
Yeah, choose one of the two I see and take what you want. What's up?
Yeah, man. I just take the one that I want. And here you are. The girl just saying they like your face.
You go on. You're trying to get me in trouble as usual.
So Smith,
Mm-hmm.
you see what before I make you talk about the election that is coming up, are you aware of JSJ having a demonstration tomorrow?
So I'm told, as a matter of fact, part of the reason I agreed to talk with you.
Do you remember speaking of a gentleman called Grandison in
In Negril,
Negril?
yes. Yes.
His mother hasn't stopped crying. It's been well over a year. I'm looking for someone who will put his name on a placard and carry it tomorrow.
Mm.
Because, in a simple explanation, somebody, young Grandison, accepted a ride from someone who he knew and was rewarded with 20 odd gunshots to him.
Mm.
And it is said,
And hold on for me, Robbie. And you have Senator Marlon Morgan coming out and telling the
Mhm.
Jamaican people to support the JCF by wearing blue?
So I would support the JCF all the while, but not all of them are behaving in a manner which seems inclined to get support.
Exactly.
You have a car with two people in it. One you claim to have a warrant for, or you need it. Ironic because he was at the station reporting the same day. So why you
Mm.
never hold him there? But well, you know, Negril is a small place. Everybody know everybody, more or less. And this young man had left his bus with the other drivers to carry out the tour. He was trying to walk home, and the young man see him and say, "Oh, I left," and then jump in. His reward for accepting the offer of the lift was getting 20 odd gunshots all over his upper torso. The person they claim to have been after only get 4. Draw your own conclusions. This is a youngster, and people wonder probably why I'm so up in arms about it. He went to UTech. In my capacity at UTech, I encountered him. And a nicer youngster you couldn't find. The area in which he lives will tell you of his immeasurable acts of kindness to youngsters in the anybody that needed help could get it from young guns. Added to that, his mother, in asking pertinent questions and going on air, was threatened online. Now, this is my problem. If a gunman had been the cause of his demise, I wouldn't be too surprised at that action. But this action was said to be a legitimate police shooting, and his mother gets threatened for highlighting what happened to her child.
And then you have a Jamaican senator who has never feel what Mrs. Grandison felt, who has never feel what Donnelly Donaldson's mother is feeling, and others countless Jamaicans in this country. And you,
Mhm.
Marlon Morgan, is gonna come out and tell the Jamaican people to wear blue tomorrow and no asking for a third term in this country. When
Let,
you people allow the JCF to go around as if it's a wild, wild west.
let me try and help you in the midst of your outrage. If I had been, God forbid, in Mr. Morgan's situation, my response to this demonstration tomorrow would be it is the Jamaican citizens' right to express their disgust with anything they consider harmful to the society.
Exactly.
We ask that they keep it peaceful, objective, do not obstruct traffic or anyone going their lawful business, and say what they have to say without being obnoxious or rude. We wish them all the best and hope that the effect that they hope it will have comes through. That would be my response. But now when I say wear blue to support police, I don't really have to wear blue to support police. I support police wholeheartedly. But police who do policing that goes in terms of what them said to serve and protect, not serve and take. Now, let me make myself very, very clear. The vast majority of Jamaicans expect their police officers to behave in a manner to which they should become accustomed. There are some people who say the minister said, shoot to kill. The prime minister said, meet your judge or meet your maker. In the States, someone said, there's fighting words. You are almost inciting, we call it inciting riot. You're telling people, when you see police coming, even if you're guilty or something, don't just turn over yourself just so. Because the police might make you meet your maker before you meet your judge. Which means that you're telling a man that if the police coming, it suits him to take him chances. That's not, to me, that's not smart. That's not even morally correct. Which also means that if you do hold him and put him in jail, you have not shown any intent to rehabilitate him. So if you throw people in jail, it's a bottomless pit. So you're telling somebody that the police coming for him life done. What kind of response do you expect from people in lower socioeconomic situations? But I'm asking again, using your program, I'm ambushing it, I'm sorry. I'm asking that anyone can write a placard or 2 or 3 asking why was Mr. Grandison unalive for simply getting a ride. It means any one of us can get into a vehicle accepting the kind offer of a ride, not knowing it's a one-way trip to the cemetery. And it's not like he's a stranger. He grew up knowing this fellow. And then they try to curry it up by saying him have criminal intent. There's no record of this young man having any criminal involvement. I give you better than that. He had recently been approved for the acquisition of a private firearm license. So everybody went through the checks, balances, and everything, and it was approved. So it was good enough to get one, but bad enough to get killed for taking a ride. I hear somebody tell me something the other day. I heard him arguing with his son. And I said, what happened? The boy want to go street, because him gym open 2 o'clock in the morning and thing. And I said, okay, I've heard of that. So what's the problem? You afraid of him and gunman? And the man said, no, you know. I'm afraid of him and police. I wonder if you understand what kind of indictment that is in that citizen.
Very serious indictment. Very serious indictment.
You tell a man, a youngster, old enough to drive legally, he's going to go to the gym late at night, but telling him, don't worry about gunman. Look out for police. That's not good. That's an unfortunate perception. And then you have youngsters who have joined the force, who are very impressionable and looking for a reputation. And your minister has given you leeway.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. You
So
know,
I come to the point where I think you're going to try and lead me. So I'm going to jump there before you.
no,
Election.
hold on for Mr. Smith. I was gonna lead you to the Minister of National Insecurity. You know, I was gonna lead you back to the conversation that we're gonna have upcoming general election.
That's where I'm going.
Okay, go ahead.
Elections are coming, and we are bestraddled by young, impressionable officers with high-powered weapons, looking to make an impression on you. Think about it. What is to say that an all-out assault on inner city communities could not be utilized to restrict the vote?
There you go.
Last time around, they used COVID. You're supposed to dip your finger in ink, but you might, and I think Mr. Morgan indicated wading through rivers of blood to power.
His exact word was this, Finzi-Smith. So Smith, his exact word was this. That some of us, including Jeffrey Tavares, Mark Jefferson Golding, Conrad O'Brien, and Peter Bunting, will rather swim in the blood of the Jamaican people to get to Jamaica House. No, I never tell Nesta Marlon Margaret I run for any seat.
No, but hold on, don't go to further. When somebody finds themselves with a large amount of cash to spend, if we're doing an investigation, we ask for source of funds. If somebody has made that pronouncement, I would like to ask, where is the source of blood? You know something I don't. And of late, I've seen his regalia looking more paramilitary than anything else. So are we being sent subliminal messages?
Exactly.
If you know that you don't have the numbers to win, you reduce the numbers that will beat you. My other question is, and I don't impugn motive, is just now on finding out where the dons are.
Are you talking about this thing here, Sir Smith?
Yes.
You know, I heard somebody on another platform say that that's idiot I mean.
You took an unfortunate joke out of my repertoire. Did you hear about when Idi Amin said he wanted to change the name of his country to Idi Amin?
No.
And somebody said to him, President, not very smart. I don't think so. And he said, why? We just name the country Idi. And he says, in Cyprus, they call them Cypriots. So if we just say Idi, they're going to call us idiots. I'm not throwing stones. But gentleman, and I use the term advisedly, seems to have been someone who grew up at a certain size in school, where his size would allow him to bully people. If you can't beat them in math and you can't beat them in English, and you bully them. You're too big to make anybody get worried when you're going to push them down. So he has apparently come up with that persona. What usually happens is when somebody of that mindset finds themselves in a situation, they resort to violence or cause violence to be resorted to. Again, I make no overt assumptions, but I'm just simply pointing out that if you have been elevated, rightfully or otherwise, to certain positions in society, it should carry a certain level of decorum that is automatic.
But does the Parliament of Jamaica have any decorum?
So maybe someone should sit him down and read him the standing orders of behavior in Parliament.
That's why I'm asking you, Sir Smith. Does anybody in the Parliament have any decorum?
And that's the question.
Well, there are some that don't have the numbers to make their decorum effective, which sometimes tempts them to join the people who they think have this superiority in numbers. And if the people in charge of the Parliament's proceedings who are guiding it behave in a manner that is said to be decent but oppressive, you're looking in trouble.
Before we go to Mystic and Headboy pertaining to the same upcoming general election, I want you to tell us from the 1980s come up what Jamaicans go through in a sense when it comes on to election in this country.
I can go
And
back.
go ahead, sir.
I was on active duty in the 70s. So it's a case where in the early 70s, 72, 74, you started to see certain weapons arrive. And these weapons seem to have coincided with the finishing of the Vietnam War. That is how M16s arrived on our shores.
Mm.
You draw your own conclusions as to the source of weaponry.
Hmm.
At the same time, we had politicians who were saying blood for blood, fire for fire, and told people they were going to vote by dipping their finger in Tempe blood.
Oh, so that's why Ida Tamin come with this now.
Well, you might find it necessary to copy what you admire. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. He should be, informed, however, that people of his few don't rise high in the Labour Party.
Hmm.
And then now, him threatening you and others, but he's doing it from afar. But the last time I checked, can correct me if I'm wrong, you have a fairly good attorney on record on retainer.
You
So
know,
I suggest they start earning the money.
you know, as I said to them before, and I'll yield to my two other colleagues here on the platform, gentlemen on the platform. As I said to them before, when one of them came out from the same Jamaica Labour Party and said that we can track them, we know where they are,
Yes.
we can see them watering flowers and all kind of shibangarang.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear anything from them again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But you must also realize that somebody probably whispered in their ear. That is not only stalking, based on whatever state he's in, it's a federal crime.
But not only that, when a letter was sent to the Jamaican government and to the American government stating that anything should happen to Wilfred Rattigan or any associate of Wilfred Rattigan or the families of Wilfred Rattigan or any family of the associate of Wilfred Rattigan, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, along with that gentleman there, who is the chairman for some school board, should be held accountable.
Have you any doubts now as to why the state of the educational system is it's in? That is who is a chairman of a school board.
Let's go back to the conversation. I want to say welcome to my good friend Marie. Marie, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Why we can't see a beautiful face?
No, you know what happened? Mystic, my brother, Finzi-Smith. How are you doing, my friend?
As you hear and see me, I am walking between the raindrops.
Wonderful. Yeah, and to everybody in the chat, good evening. What happened is that I not too long came in. So I'm in between, doing stuff. So that's what I said. Let me, try to. So I'm not camera ready right now. So that's what is happening. So, what greetings, Jeffrey.
The voice is perfect. My good friend Marie.
Head boy, how are you?
Sufficient.
Okay, that's good. I'm very good. I'm very well. But let me just say before Finzi continues about the subject that Jeffrey is talking about, and I heard Finzi talking about the number of extrajudicial killings that are taking place. And
Marie, hold on for me. What
yes,
I was really talking about doing is upcoming general election,
I
and
know,
Finzi went into that.
it's
Go ahead.
feeding in, yeah, it's feeding into that. It's gonna turn to that.
Okay, go ahead.
The mothers of Jamaica. My question to Andrew, who should not be on the ballot, quite frankly, and to the members of his party who want people to vote for them. Dead people can't vote. The mothers of many of these young persons who have been unalived by police, by members of law enforcement, who were not criminals, but maybe they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, or for some reason, as Finzi say, you have these young bucks who are, want to prove something because you take these young people, give them all that power, so they have to try to prove themselves. And the mothers, who are you asking? Who is the Prime Minister asking to vote for him? I would love for him to have a conversation with these mothers. And these mothers must say, why am I voting for you? Why should I give you my vote? The young people of Jamaica should say to the Prime Minister, why should we give you another term in office when all we have been is the bane of your existence? You don't see us as human beings. You do not see us as young people who need direction. You want votes, but you're killing off the young people. You say, meet your judge, meet your maker. What is the purpose of keeping you in office? You have not putting in place any infrastructure to help to curtail some of the criminal element, because children who cannot read, write, or spell, they are attracted to gangs. The girls are attracted to prostitution. Some boys as well. So how can you be asking for the votes of these people? Who do you want to vote for you? Who are you asking to vote for you? If you look at the hospitals, that's another debacle right there. The persons who go to the hospitals and don't get proper health care because it is not working for them. What are you saying? What are they voting for? The school system is broken. What are you asking the teachers to vote for? What are you asking the parents of those students to vote for? It cannot be promises after 9 years. What policies have you put in place that you can point to say, this is what my administration has done over the past 5 years, and this is why I need another year, 2 years, 5 years? What are they voting for when you have been treating the people, the contempt that this administration has for the Jamaican people is mind-boggling. The way the Prime Minister speaks, you can see that he has no regard for them. This is not uptown people that vote them into office, It's the marginalized, the poor, the dispossessed. They are the ones who vote them into office. What are they voting for? Yeah, go ahead. Was that Finzi?
Yeah, I'm saying the ones who bought into the green clerks.
And therein lies the problem, Finzi, because they are doing PR, and they say, oh yes, they think that he's one of them because he wore Clarks. He's not one of you, because remember now that Clarks was thing that them say bad man wear. It was that entertainers wore Clarks, and look how they treat entertainers. So what is it that they're really asking people to vote for? Is the question I would ask them, given what is happening. And before I finish, that mother in St. Thomas, and I remember her son name is Franklin. And when the police went for this young man named Franklin, and they said to him, one woman said, Franklin, come out of the house. And the police were like, what am I come out for? And she was like, yes. And she was like, and you know, the conversation you could have as people were recording, they were having amongst themselves, between themselves, was, if you come out and because I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him if you come out. And they did go in and they killed him. And the wail of that mother is something I will never forget. That wail must be played every time Andrew Holness opens his mouth. And every time Kevin Blake opens his mouth. What do you say to that mother? What do you say to that mother? There are many of them like that. And we are not here condoning criminal behavior by no stretch of the imagination. We know Jamaica is a high crime society, but it's a high poverty society as well. It is a society where many are undereducated. They cannot read or write. What skills do they have so they can make a living for themselves and be gainfully employed? That is the question. So when the Prime Minister is out there saying, don't get the PNP this and don't get the PNP that, how many schools have you built in your 9 years? How many hospitals have you built and completed in your 9 years? Beryllium Regional is hemorrhaging money and no one seems to care. But they unveiled an executive suite, but they didn't unveil any wards that are completed with beds for patients and equipment with MRIs and CT scans and dialysis machines. They didn't unveil that, but they unveiled an executive suite. So what is it? What are they asking the people to vote for is my question. What are the youth voting for? What are the parents of these children? What are they voting for? That is the question that I have to ask.
Yes. Head boy, come on in and then we go to Finzi-Smith and we go to Mr. Inback to Finzi-Smith. Head boy, and Mr. Mike can come on in for us.
Most definitely. Thank you. And thank you for that point, Marie. No, you know, I know the election is on many of our lips. And I did mention that today is so interesting that we're having 2 elections within the Commonwealth. So the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and Canada is actually facing the polls. And you and I, Jeffrey, were on a program that Marlon Morgan said the other day that Michael Phillips and Omar Newell and Dr. Kenneth Russell in Southeast Centan, Northwest Manchester, and Central St. Mary candidates must look out because the JLP is going to take their seats. And you know, what I can say to you is that if wishes were horses, then many of us will be riding. Because what I can say is if you look at the historical performance of the PNP in those 3 seats, which they currently hold, by the way, there has never been, for example, except the 2020 election results in Northwest Manchester, where the gentleman, where Michael Phillips narrowly defeated the gentleman by about 800 votes. But 800 votes in the scheme of things in a seat that his opponent maxed, meaning the JLP candidate got 4,900 votes. Yes? Historically, Michael Phillips is used to polling 7,000 and 8,000 votes in that seat. So when you really look at it, this noise that Marlon Morgan is doing it shows the level of desperation of the Jamaica Labour Party, that they would go to, let's even use Southeast Centan. Even in the most recent elections, the local government elections, in Manchester, Northwestern, Michael Phillips was able to win majority of his divisions. And so was the case in Central St. Mary, where they regained Port Maria division, a division that they never had. The same can be said in Southeast Centan. They regained Monique division, a division that they didn't have, which they have 4 of the divisions in the constituency. The PNP has 3 in Central St. Mary, and Michael Phillips, I believe, has 3 in his constituency, 3 or 4. So the notion that the JLP is well on its way to a third term is a crazy notion. But let us look at the infighting, because the JLP has had a history of infightings. They have also had a history of not, with the exception of Edward Seaga, who perfected the leadership, the one-man done leadership practice, which he was able to rule the Labour Party for such a long time with no major challenge. But if you look at the history of the Labour Party in Jamaica historically has had challenges when they are going to elections. Let's look at one. In 2007, in 1989, Jamaica got fed up with Edward Seaga. They voted him out. They never forgive him for what he did in the 80s, and he remained absent from the polls. A younger generation came up 2007. They gave Bruce Golding a chance. By 2010, they were turning their backs on Bruce Golding. Bruce Golding didn't even finish his term in office fully. They gave Andrew Holness a chance, and by December that very year, they voted him out. They gave Portia Simpson Miller a chance. And then when we go back to the JLP, they have given Andrew Holness 2 consecutive chances. If you look at the trend is trending that the JLP will particularly face the same history it has faced, where once rejected by the population, it takes a long time for them to see elected office. And what is barefaced, and we have to speak on it, is how it is that the JLP is able to push up Andrew Holness plus the 7 other persons who are under investigations, who, by the way, know that they're under investigations. Make no doubt that the illicit aid knows that they're under investigation, because we saw where the Integrity Commission said it had discussions with Andrew Holness. Yes, so it means that these persons would have been informed about the lack, and Byron has been doing a very good job at that. I want to encourage persons to go and watch a lot of his videos, very details looking at what the Integrity Commission has been breaking down in terms of relation to the Prime Minister. But as I close, if you realize, whilst we talk about that, what the JLP's propaganda machinery has been doing is trying to move the discussion from integrity, trying to move the discussion from the Prime Minister's assets, trying to move the discussion from the illicit enrichment to say, oh no, the country's economy is doing well and we are the architect of it. Now, the PNP has done a good job at combating that argument. But what we must not miss is that what the JLP is doing now in terms of its campaign strategy, it is coming out and spewing lies. It is like when you're in a war and you realize you can't win the war, so you tell the soldiers, look here, let us fire at random. Yeah? And I think what is happening with the JLP is that they're reacting to what they see, a groundswell that is largely for the PNP. Let me quickly, with numbers, give you that groundswell. In 2011, when Portia Simpson Miller won that election, and I keep on saying to people, if you want to see the real performance of the PNP, you have to look at their 2011 election numbers. In 2011, we know Portia won 42 seats. She got 464,000 votes nationally. The JLP got 400,005. Now, that was a difference of roughly 59,000 votes. But when you go to 2016, you see where the PNP got 433,000 to the JLP 436. The JLP won that election in 2016 by 1 seat, as we all know. But in 2020, the JLP carried 408,000 votes to the poll, to the PNP 306,000. But when you look at those numbers that we have quoted, you realize that in 2020, the PNP carried out 100 and something thousand less votes than it would have typically carried out in any elections. The JLP virtually peaked meaning it was not far from what it would have typically carried out in a general election. So the indication to me, the PNP base looks motivated. The undecided will tell a lot in these elections, because the base of the PNP will be sufficient to push it across. But where the PNP will pick up this swing is that undecided vote, because you have, and also the splinter factions in the GLP in some of these seats. There are some internal issues in some of these seats that will see the PNP picking up. So, for example, let's use a seat without highlighting much to the GLP. Let's take a seat like North Central Clarendon. North Central Clarendon is a seat which typically people say is a JLP seat, but it's not necessarily a JLP seat because it was a PNP seat historically when it was set up. It was then run by by Percival Broderick, by Mr. Broderick, who, by the way, his son eventually ran for the JLP against Horace Daly in Northern Clarendon in 2007 and 2011. But that seat in 2016 saw the PNP only losing it by 540 votes, bringing down Pernell Charles from 1,800, a margin of 1,800. Now, if you look at a seat like that, when you realize that what is happening to the JLP now, a seat like North Central Clarendon, it responds to a particular mood of the country. So really and truly, my point, because I don't want to give out too much numbers and say anything much, but I can tell you there is going to be a serious surprise for the short-neck man in Parliament, because that seat has a doctor who is running by the name of Azra Dixon. And you know, in rural constituencies, Jeffrey and Mystic and Daisy Magazine, most doctors perform well. Why Linval Bloomfield did so well in East Portland, and why they had to get rid of him, was because he was a medical doctor. Rural constituencies love doctors who work in them. And I yield to the panel.
Yes. Mystic, come on in. Then we go to Finzi, and then we're gonna wrap up this section and go over to the nitty-gritty of what we came here to speak about. Mostly is about Holness Statutory Declaration. Mystic, then Finzi, then Daisy Magazine. Go ahead, Mystic. Unmute your mic, brother. Unmute your mic.
Yes, solid articulation from Headboy. I think Headboy had gone through the detail of the certain dynamics, which I fully agreed with everything what Headboy said. Very, very good detail articulation from Headboy. Daisy Magazine, big up yourself, and Major Finzi. Yes, good to have you in the place, Major. Now, I want to speak to something that Major had spoken about earlier, referring to the 1980 general election, because if you want to have an understanding of the Jamaica Labour Party history as it relates to general election activities. Now, Major Finlay, if you remember that 1979, as it relates to the Jamaica Labour Party campaign, there was a particular slogan that ran in the 1979. I don't know if you remember it. And that particular slogan, particularly, I would say, ventilated by Edward Siaga when he spoke by the ballot or the gun. I don't know if you remember that.
The ballot or the bullet?
Yeah, by the ballot or the bullet. All right. By the ballot or the bullet. That was the exact phrase. So obviously, yes, you do remember. Now,
well, I not only remember, I can tell you why I remember.
Yes.
I have been into a place called Coral Cliff.
Yes.
Where a known JLP active, I won't call him a friend, he was an acquaintance, who told me that they were going to get the PNP out of power if they had to shoot them out.
Whoa.
And I had to try and remind him who he was speaking to, that it was evidence him didn't want out of street. Apparently, him didn't care because he proceeded to do just that.
All right, very good. I'm glad you can back me up on that. So what I want to speak about, the aftermath of that slogan. We had seen that very slogan, right, resulted in the 1980 general election, bringing about 800 murders, right, that are done in the 1980s. In terms of my figures, so one can correct me, something over 800 murders as it relates to that slogan. Now, why I'm saying that, right, we have seen brought forward to now, right, as it relates to some of the comments that are coming out from some prominent members, right, of the Jamaica Labour Party. And you have political rhetorics like, we will not allow the PNP to take over the realm of power. And when you look into that, yes, when you look into that,
that's a threat.
Yes,
that's a threat.
Exactly, it sends some chills up my spines, because I'm saying, where are they going with that? What does that mean? And obviously, as I said, Major, that's an obvious threat, right? I mean, you're talking about, right, person's democratic rights to vote for who they want to vote for.
So the majority of people want to vote for the PNP, they're not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But yes, I glad how Ed Boy going through the tide in terms of breaking down certain things in detail. And I want to say to Ed Boy that for this general election, what I am witnessing as it relates to the People's National Party gaining momentum, right, that we are actually reducing voters' apathy, Ed Boy.
Absolutely.
Yes. And we are seeing, as it relates to, you have spoken about uncommitted persons who are, undecided. I think one of the Jamaica Labour Party's strategy that had been utilized as it relates to the 2020 general election. If you notice, for the People's National Party, people who appeal to the People's National Party range between the age, from age 35 upwards, right? And Andrew Holness sort of utilize the younger generation to propel him into power. However, he used that under the strategy where the COVID 2020 COVID was on top of its spike, because majority of the elderly people,
stayed on the polls out of fear.
Exactly. That's where I'm going, Major. And I'm glad we are appealing to the strategy. So we are seeing where Andrew Holness is quite strategical in, and again, lack of the caring, right? The empathy of our people, have no care in terms of, the by means necessary attitude, right? The sort of narcissistic behavior that he will put people's life to peril just to gain his objective. So never forget that. That is what the 2020 general election, right, had given us as it relates to Andrew Holness achieving, right, his objective in winning the general election and put many people's life, right, in reverse, and some, where they are.
But I'm going to disagree with you, if I might.
Yes, go ahead.
The momentum that you're feeling is
Yes.
not because of the Jamaica of the People's National Party. You know.
Yes.
The momentum you are feeling is the people who have never lived under a Labour Party government, who have just come face to face with the realities of that experience.
Part and parcel. Yes, part and
So
parcel.
what has happened now is that those that you have considered undecided voters,
Yes.
I have seen them before. I saw them when the PNP won against Siaga.
Yes.
And Siaga made the famous outburst after Gilbert, where he said, if I don't win this election, God is sleeping.
Crazy.
And the people sat down and didn't say a word. And when time came, they went to the polls, make them X, put them finger in the ink, and went, sat down waiting
Yes.
on the results. And the
Yes.
results freaked the hell out of everybody. So I'm telling you that what's, in my humble opinion, what is going to happen is a repeat. History is repeating itself.
So
What
true.
I understand, because you know these things, and I don't know why you didn't reach for it. I know Head Boy knows it.
Yes.
Do you remember when Andrew became the leader of the Labour Party and elections come? You remember what he said? They're going to be bitter medicine ahead.
Bitter medicine,
Oh, yeah.
of course. Yes.
Yes.
Which indicated that whatever his government at the time had been doing was not sufficient to alleviate suffering in the Jamaican population.
And God is making a little bit of medicine now.
Yeah.
Nobody picked that up. The next thing he said was the minute he lost, he said the campaign begins now. So he immediately started to undermine the duly elected government. Immediately.
Yes.
Now, I am not going to put your program in any problems by making allegations that are not founded apart from my intelligence sources. The PNP lost that election after that by one constituency. There is no prize for anybody who can tell me which constituency.
Head Boy.
I would say that
Andre Hilton.
Yep.
St. Andrew, East Road, St. Andrew.
Yes. And do you know why they lost it?
Benicia Phillips sabotaged him.
Pick up the certificate. And
I'm telling you, my brother, that's a horrible person.
Has since established her bona fides as a Judas.
Exactly. Exactly, Major.
And I'm going to tell you why I find this fascinating. Her modus operandi that allowed her to defeat Andre, in spite of his being warned, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
She had hoped to take over the seat.
Oh.
You didn't know that, boss?
No.
Stevie Wonder could tell you. You could see it plain as day. But when that did not manifest, she cut and go over the fence. You still with me?
Oh,
You
yes.
slow down a little bit?
Come on,
She
following him.
hasn't learned anything because having landed over the other side and lost the little cut she had on the stool, not the seat, she has no bona fides. So she has headed for Westmoreland. Not so much to help, but to help people over the cliff so she can get a run in on the seat. Have I lost everyone?
We're listening. Pretty interesting.
No,
where with you?
I keep asking people, don't be surprised. Have you ever heard a cat bark?
No.
Because they don't bark, so don't expect it.
Exactly.
She cannot change her modus operandi because the tried and proven tactic. August Town calmed down after her departure. I dare anybody to contradict me. No, I keep telling people the only thing wrong when something go wrong is if you don't learn nothing from it. You have strong supporters of the PNP who are very disgruntled that Mark Golding didn't come out firing on all cylinders. I was taught a number of things by my dearly departed father, most of whom I've learned to treasure. None less than this one. Never do what people expect you to do because they plan for it. Mark Golding has not done what they thought the provocation would have forced him to do, or prompt some of the hotter heads to inveigle him to do. So them don't get what them anticipated. People like Morgan running around the place trying to poke the bear. Nothing happening. What else do we do? And then, having nothing that look reasonable, they now reach for the unreasonable. They do what I call the Hitler dance. Tell a lie. Tell a bit. Tell it repeatedly.
Yes.
Tell it strong. Tell it loud. And sooner or later they will believe you. You with me? Which may, I went to the level of distrust of their own capabilities. You go to a place like St. Mary in a predominantly PNP area. Say you're bringing them water. Hook it up to a tank at the top of the hill around the corner. Set up a standpipe. Have a big ceremony. Turn it on. Film it. Leave, and within half an hour to 45 minutes, everything pulled down. And they never occurred to them that the same people that were filming the thing were filming the aftermath. What do you think you're doing? You're insulting the average Jamaican. You have just quoted the game.
Exactly.
Like you're playing a set of dominoes and somebody push one under the table and I'm supposed to have 6, but them have 5, and expect you to believe that them didn't have another one when you realize that if you bring out that one, you lose. Right now, the Labour Party, in my humble opinion, are trying to block the game.
Oh, of course. None to be about.
And hope that them can count. Problem is, mathematically, they appear challenged because facts and figures don't seem to be their forte.
True.
Somebody get up and say that that is the PNP ran Marcus Garvey out of Jamaica in 1925. He was not in Jamaica in 1925. It has been a little
1923. 1923. 1923. He said 1923.
I think
yes, he did say the PNP run him out 1923, Finzi.
Yes,
Yeah.
what he said.
When that time he was in,
I think the president of the Senate may be in a bit of his distill at the moment, you know.
Well, I'm not even, what they're trying to do is having a little bit of blood in his alcohol stream. I don't know. But what I'm saying
Yes.
is if you're going to give out certain pronouncements, at least come close, and that I say to be fully factual. You see how nice I am?
Yes.
I'm asking you to at least come close to the facts.
Exactly.
And there are people like me who are old enough and not gone to dementia yet, who have memories that are accurate. I, for instance, know that no love is lost between Samuda and the Finsons. Historically. So you won't come and tell them
100%. Yes, that's the answer. And he could fly high or fly low. His son is not going to get that seat.
And him tell, come out of the seat, I'm putting him a son. Really? If you run,
But Finzi, stick up in there. Remember what you're going to say, Finzi, Mr. Smith. When did it become a situation where politics in Jamaica is it's a family business? What has Christian Tavares Finson done for the Jamaican people, whether it is in that constituency or outside of it, but for the Jamaican people to warrant him being in that position. Because I remember, wasn't he with his father who caused an artist not forget be was almost rotting in jail because they violated his constitutional right? Was he one of the attorneys?
I plead but I plead innocence. But my thing is this: if you are going to come and tell Mr. Samuda, come out, me know who me want in there, and I can tell you why that is being done. One smells the coffee and wants to ensure that they have sufficient support amongst those who may win a seat to remain leader of the opposition. So you're putting your ducks to be in a row. There's only one problem. They don't learn. Samuda have a stranglehold on that seat. He won it as a Labour Party MP. He stepped across to the PNP, and I remember this. Me didn't know so it's sweet. Did come long time.
And Finzi, do you remember he went like this with the artificial arm and break it in two?
Yeah, man. I remember and then let me just finish. Then he went and won it for the PNP. Yes. And then he put up and said or something. Let me sing a song like a candle and go me yard here. And him go back over and win it for the JLP.
But Finzi Smith, you know, I met Carl Samuda, and the truth is Carl Samuda is one of the nicest persons you'd ever come across. I don't know about other people's interaction with him, but he's a very nice person. He's you know, person. Somebody you can talk with. He's a people exactly. He's a people person. He's but not. You see the kind of disrespect that people get from Andrew Holness, you'll never get that from a Carl Samuda.
Do you know who Carl
hold on for me, Jelly people. We gotta wrap up this segment right now because we have Mr. Extension waiting in the wings to come on with the Andrew Holness Statutory declaration. So we're gonna wrap this in the next 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Jeffrey, Finzi, I was trying to make a point to make it even more interesting that what is even sweeter this time is that if you remember in 1993 when Carl Samuda crossed the floor and ran when PJ invited him over, he ran against no other person than Tavares Finson.
Tavares Finson, exactly.
Yeah. And so I want people to understand that this argument is an argument that, so you know, you had in the Japanese movie or the Chinese movie, you see the son come up, the father trained the son to come and beat the old man who beat him. But
yeah, the man said, you killed my father. I take revenge now.
You come to take revenge, So almost a sort of scenario like that. But if you read,
but you don't have the time. But let me tell you what else you need to discuss elsewhere. Mr. Seabright. Mr. Seabright is the tip of a very big iceberg.
Oh, yes. That's so true. That is so true.
What kind of...
That is true. That is true, Finzi. And we cannot forget him chop up the people, them raft. I have a serious problem with him.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm not forgiving him that. I'm just aware of who him is. And for him to push up his head like that, the other man said, keep your Senate seat. Keep your ministerial appointment. May I run for this? He is planning down the road. He sees himself in the leadership hierarchy of a losing Labour Party to live another day.
Yep.
So rather than identify someone to succeed the incumbent, someone has currently said, I have the chops to do it, and I have the balls to tell him no. And there are some people sitting in the wings, in the shadows, saying to him, go on, Star, go on, go on. And
very interesting.
Head boy knows exactly who and whom we're talking about.
Absolutely. There's a new gang of 5 in the JLP, and it's actually 5 of them leading this charge.
Well, I tell you,
All right.
let me leave this with you. You know the bigger explosion? Clarendon. One day ask Head boy to tell you the story about that.
Repeat that, Finzi.
Clarendon. Mike Henry hasn't said a word.
Yeah. Don't underestimate, as old as he, don't underestimate Mike Henry. But here's the thing, but he has sent Feder down there to keep Feder in because he was of no use in the KSAMC. He squandered the money in the KSAMC and he's gone into Mike Henry with no respect for the man. You don't have to like Mike Henry or like his politics, but you're going to treat him with some respect, with some dignity. Because he has held that constituency for such a long time. You can't just come and kick him out and say, I'm going to put somebody there because, you know, you're looking for another feeding trough.
But Mike Henry, regardless of what you think of him, is a very smooth operator.
I know.
Confused by his articulate behavior. That is the godfather of all godfathers. If you want a biography, go ask Ed boy. Let me step to one side while you all have fun now.
All right, Finzi.
All right, Mr. Finzi, good seeing you.
Same here. I will try and listen, but I have some other stuff I have to do. I think that I've stirred up enough more.
Jeffrey.
That idiom is on the sideline.
Your mic.
Are you hearing me?
Oh, yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
Oh, idiot,
yes.
Yes, him.
I want to say thank you.
My parting thing is this. Be careful of the Morgans. They started out as our first Governor General as a pirate.
Yes. Be careful of the Morgans. because
evolved much.
Right.
Be careful of the Morgans because they're doing Morgan things.
They're doing Morgan things.
There you go.
So Smith, thank you so much for coming on, sir.
They're doing Morgan things from the 17th century.
Indeed.
Yep.
I want to welcome Smith, before you go, I want to play this for you. You remember this?
All of a sudden, everybody turned on.
One done.
The better learn that in any organization is only one done by rule. And today I say to them, the door is open to retrieve your position. Take a candle, sing a Sankey, and find your way back home.
The new, the new Gang of 5 in the JLP. I want to welcome now our good friend here, Mystic Sensation, to come and speak to us now about the Holness Statutory Declaration. Mr. Good friend, go ahead, sir.
Thank you for that, Jeffrey. And I'm glad I have likes like Robert Finzi, Daisy Magazine, and Head Boy in the space, right? As it relates to Holness Statutory Declaration, and based on the narrative as it relates to Marlon Morgan, I had seen Marlon Morgan on your program, right? I think 2 days or 3 days ago.
No, it's not my program, and Portland Spice program.
And Portland Spice. Sorry. So let me correct that. And he was, giving a narrative that the Integrity Commission investigators, right, they are just duly biased and politically aligned. So that was the sentiment that, Morgan was dishing out. So then for my point of duty, right, I in terms of always stand for the Integrity Commission investigators, knowing that they are doing a very, very solid job as it relates to their skeleton staff, but they are still able to cope with the few members that they have. Now, what I want to bring, right, to show the legitimacy of the Integrity Commission investigation into Andrew Holness Statutory Declaration. Now, I want us to look on 3 years of Andrew Holness Statutory Declaration. I wouldn't mind if Morgan is watching this tonight, and I want to ask him what he thinks as it relates to what I'm going to present. Now, bear in mind that Andrew Holness' salary as we speak is $9.1 million. And Andrew Holness has been getting that salary, right, from 2016 when he became the incumbent up until now. So we are going to use that as a yardstick to go back and look on his statutory declaration and ask ourselves, right, that 1, is the Integrity Commission investigator has a right to pursue an investigation as it relates to what Andrew Holness submitted. So first we are going to go to the 2018 statutory declaration, and we are not going to spend any time in terms of going through the 3 categories of filing, which is income, assets, and liability. We are just going through 1, right, to justify that what the Integrity Commission investigators are doing, they are right in pursuing their investigation. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us read the topic as it relates to the Integrity Commission Act 2017.
Hold on for me. Let me do that for you now. Hold on. Sorry, I do apologize.
You can give me you can increase the font on it.
This one here?
2018.
2018. Hold on for me. Yeah, 2018. Here it is.
Okay. So scroll down, Jeffrey.
Sorry, hold on. Let me come out of this one here.
Okay.
Go back into this one.
And we are just going to present it and to make right. I know that Ed Boy will come in and give his summary of it. I know that Daisy Maria will come in and also give her summary of what I'm going to present. Now, let us get to the 2018 statutory declaration of the Prime Minister.
18, here we go. Okay, go back into here. I do apologize. I have to go through so many. Here we go now.
Okay. So, yes, increase the font so that persons can see it clearly. I think they can see it clearly. Okay, scroll down. Scroll down, Jeffrey. Okay, yeah. All right. So, all right, yes. So let us look on the sub-heading, right? And let us read the sub-heading as it relates. So, summary of statutory declaration, right? For the most Honourable Andrew Michael Holness, summary of income, assets, and liabilities of declarant, spouse, and children. So this is the filing for all the persons who mentioned there, right? And it is saying that this is for the period January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2018. If you notice at the salary section, since we presume that Andrew Holness' salary is $9.1 million, Then, as it relates to this filing, right, the salary that you have seen there as it relates to 15 million, right, $95,055.57 would be divided by Andrew Holness and Juliet Holness. So that's why looking at the maths, we said, okay, all right, Andrew Holness portion of salary would be 9.1 and Juliet Holness salary would be 5.9 something. But we can round that off to say $6 million to fit into the $15 million ballpark. So this is what the 2018 right statutory declaration that Andrew Holness filed, right? And it registered from January 1, 2018 to December 31st, 2018. Now, Jeffrey, I would like you to go to the 2019 statutory declaration. Remember that we said we are only stay into the category of income.
Okay.
So let us go to 2019, right?
All right.
2018.
One moment. So stop this one here.
Yeah. And we go into the 2019 statutory declaration that the Prime Minister filed, right? Because the narrative out there that the Integrity Commission investigators, right, are, wish hunting and, politically aligned and all the shenanigans.
Is this the right one?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us look on the 2019, and this is from January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019. As for salary, you see a breakdown as it relates to the Prime Minister, 9.1 million, and Juliet Holness, 6 million, and we see a $15,347,289.42. Right, from an auditor looking on this, like myself, right, everything is okay. Yeah, everything is okay. So that's fine. Now, let us go to the 2020 statutory declaration.
Okay. One moment, please, sir.
People, I want you to also bear in mind that Juliet Holness is a certified accountant. Bear that in mind, that Juliet Holness is a certified accountant, and bear in mind also that the Prime Minister had attended several workshops, right, being given by the Integrity Commission as it relates to statutory declaration and filing. So the Prime Minister knows very well as it relates to the responsibility of filing, knows very well as it relates to be truthful in terms of a statutory declaration. Now, this is the 2020 statutory declaration, right? Now, people, I want to focus on salary. What you have seen there. We have seen the salary between Andrew Holness and Juliet Holness at $10,487,565.94. Now, something wrong with this filing.
Hold on for me. Hold on.
And I want Marlon Morgan to see this. I want specifically all labor rights to see this. Something fundamentally wrong with Andrew Holness filing as it relates to his 2020, which indicate to me that the Prime Minister, right, might be one didn't remember what he had put from the last filing, because when I look at this, I am seeing what this is saying. Remember that the Prime Minister is getting 9.1 million, right, for his salary, and so then we looking at this, we have now seen Juliet Holness' salary dwindle down to $900 and something thousand. That cannot be correct. People, my Jamaican people, that cannot be correct. So we are looking on a variance, roughly about $4.9 million in variance. Right? Now, when we look at this, we know that, of course, the Integrity Commission investigators would have been aware that this information, as it relates to the 2018, 2019, and 2020, and as a result of the variance, right? Obviously, Andrew Holness would have lied, right? State falsely on his statutory declaration. Now, let me just go to the panel a bit. Right? Let me just begin with the lady in the house. Sister Maria? Is Sister Maria there?
Yes, I'm here.
Sister Maria?
Yes.
From the presentation that you have seen as it relates to the 3 statutory declaration, the 3 years of statutory declaration and the variance in 2020, right? In your best estimate, right? What you think would have caused that variance?
There wasn't an accurate reporting of their relevant information that could have helped the Integrity Commission to come to a better conclusion, or to come with, to help to figure out what the real thing is. So there are discrepancies because one cannot justify the sources of incomes.
Exactly.
And if you cannot justify the sources of your incomes, then that creates a problem. So you cannot have a complete report if there are so many questions left unanswered. And therein lies the problem.
Here you go. I like that, Mario. Ed Boy, let me speak to you, Ed Boy. Right? Yeah. I know that you witnessed this. Right?
Yes.
Now, based on what I just presented, I'm just asking, based on the narrative that is out there, that the Integrity Commission, right, is wishunting the Integrity Commission, right, is politically motivated and all of that. If you were a part of the Integrity Commission investigator, would you pursue this to have a better understanding and clarity of what transpired there?
Let's be real. What you pointed out is absolutely alarming, and if you look at it, is reported income dropped? Yeah.
Yes.
That's what the point is. His reported income dropped. But when you looked at his liabilities, there was nothing indicating on his liability side that if his income, because your income can drop. If you're on a fixed salary, like what the Prime Minister and his wife are on, their income would remain steady. But even if their liabilities grow, the liability would just grow, but their income would not change. Even if 10, 20%, 30% of the income is earmarked, the income would remain steady.
Yeah, because the income is
point
static.
that I want to raise, right, because they have a static pay. The other point I want to raise, which is telling, and a wider point, is how it is that this Integrity Commission in 2020 certified, where did Byron go? Oh, everybody's there. How it is that the Integrity Commission certified this statutory deduction, and I'll tell you why. This statutory deduction was certified just a couple of months before the general election of 2020. It is obvious to me that Mr. Holness doctored his numbers for the need to pass that, because remember, it was big. Dr. Peter Phillips for a year was talking about it leading up to the election. Him can't tell where money come from. Him can't. So it it was a big thing. And I think the Prime Minister and his wife, who, by the way, is a very shrewd accountant, very good accountant, yes, doctored some numbers, but as you said, they left a trail. And the trail was with this income. And it is telling that his securities would grow though, because if your income has not changed, how are you able to invest so much? And I think that is the big question Jamaicans need to ask. His income has remained static, but his securities is growing. Yeah? Which in other words, his investment is growing. So where is he getting the money from to invest? And I will yield to you on that one, Byron.
And let me point out a very important point there to Head Boy. If you notice in 2020, as it relates to the document that we just look on, where is salary reduced, right, by the variance as it relates to $4.8 million. But yet, guess what? The overall assets grew.
And that is the discrepancy. That is a major discrepancy.
Yeah, you know, it's a very alarming too, right? And I hope, as it relates to, you know, Marlon Morgan when he came on Portland Spice, right? And trying to sell the narrative that the Integrity Commission investigators, right, are wish hunting and they are politically biased. Look at this. And go and talk to the Prime Minister in private as it relates to this situation. Because this not look pretty upon the Prime Minister. This not look pretty on the Prime Minister. So that is what I really want to present, Jeffrey. Right, and you know, thanks for the opportunity to highlight that.
Your mic, Jeffrey.
And no, the audio.
Yes.
You're going out, Jeffrey.
You're going in and out, Jeffrey.
Why, Jeffrey? I don't
speak.
know.
Speak. Let me see if we can hear you.
Audio.
Ooh.
Audio testing, mic 1.
Perfect.
No, I'm saying to you, Byron, you finished already so quick?
No, well, that is what I want to present. And let me say this, because I can still lament on it. Right? To the fact that you have, in terms of that statutory declaration being affected, that would have a ripple effect on all statutory declarations that Andrew Holness submitted. All of them, right? From 2018 up until now, all of those statutory declarations. So yes, what this goes to say, because remember, I know when I pointed out this Head Boy and Maria, as it relates to, I don't understand why the Integrity Commission investigators, right, certified Andrew Holness 2018, 2019, and 2020 statutory declaration. Remember that they answered it, right, in terms of their last report, in terms of the 172 pages. They answered it. What they said that, you know, as it relates to the Prime Minister's statutory declaration, right, there was no investigation into that. They just take it as face value, right? And as such, when they take it as face value, right, then that is one of the reasons why that was certified. But I am saying now that you understand that, okay, all right, there are certain situations as it relates to the Prime Minister, and where illicit enrichment seems to be the order, the deal with the Prime Minister. I want to know if there's a way where the Integrity Commission can go back. I don't know if there's any form of law that exists where they can go back and actually, right, uncertify those certifications as a result of this. I don't know, boy. Do you have any idea
But
where that?
actually, Sir Byron, that is exactly what is posing the issue, and Andrew Holness and the Labour Party is not being honest with people, because when the Integrity Commission certified 2018 to 2020, when they went back now to do their investigations in 2021, 2022, that has not been certified. Well, 2022, the last one that was partially certified.
Yes.
When they went back and looked back, they would have realized that because the illicit enrichment that you say Andrew Holness is trying to have struck out of the Integrity Commission Act, what he's doing is that he's not only doing
that is within the Corruption Act.
Right, sorry, within the Corruption Act. What he's doing is that he's actually challenging not just for himself, but for the entire 8. And I want people to understand this when we say it this way, because if Andrew Holness is successful in obtaining the court to strike out the illicit enrichment, it means the 7 other persons will never be named. I want people to understand the illicit enrichment clause. The
Very
7 other persons would never be named. And I know you have a little background in investigations and the law as well, Mystic. If you look, once there is a case, because remember now what he has done, he has said this clause, so every person the Integrity Commission accuses of illicit enrichment, the act of illicit enrichment, they cannot bring no case against them until the Andrew Holness case is resolved.
That's true. That's true.
Because remember, so what he has strategically done, and I was saying it to somebody the other day on another program, and they said you're right, because what he has strategically done is allowed the other 7 persons to be sheltered. Yeah. So it means that should he be successful, but we can then surmise that if he's going to go this extent to protect these other 7 persons by filing this lawsuit, that at least one of them must be closely related or in good relationship to him. Because why would he go to the extent? Because everybody has been asking the question, how comes the Integrity Commission can publish a report on Mr. Holness, but can't publish none on his wife? Because what has happened in Jamaica should never have happened in any other country, including Jamaica. No prime minister and his wife should be in office and be in business. I think we have never seen in the history of the Caribbean, in modern democracy, where whilst in office, the wife of the prime minister and the prime minister himself, who by the way has had no history of business from 1997 when he defeated the PNP in the constituency he now holds, he has never done any other thing but representational politics. So where is this wealth coming from? We have seen his own lawyer said to us that Mr. Holness set up an offshore company in the name of ADMAT to avoid paying taxes. Yes? He said that. Yeah. How could you have a prime minister who is telling people that they must pay their fair share and they must contribute, setting up companies to avoid paying taxes? And why the Integrity Commission caught him this time around was that St. Lucia changed their registry laws, which says if you're coming to incorporate a company in St. Lucia, you must act with certain share capital. You must be doing some sort of business in the jurisdiction. So what happened to him now? Imperium and the other companies he had, those now had to be incorporated in Jamaica, and the beneficial owner now had to be declared in Jamaica because Jamaica is a jurisdiction that the beneficial owner must be known. Yes? So that is how he was caught. If he was allowed to go into St. Lucia or go into other jurisdictions to set up these companies. But the worst part of his statutory declarations, Byron, is the part where he was actually using the government services to pay this company that is media operations outfit that is run by his son. And I think people are forgetting some of these things. How could a sitting prime minister have a media, have his son running, getting paid from the office of the prime minister, in Jamaica for media communications work? And I think that company is not Imperium. That one was called some media company name. I think you remember it in the report. But
Yeah.
as I yield to you, my salient point is simple, that the discussion we are now having in terms of Andrew's statutory deductions, we should not even be having a discussion about Andrew Holness. Andrew Holness in any meaningful democracy or any meaningful country would not even be having a discussion about wanting a third term.
So true.
No country could he be having. And I'm saying I'm not being any way harder on Andrew Holness than I've been on any other else prime minister. The truth be told is that Andrew has caused his own situation by ignoring all of the laws, by taking on these super ministries under him, right? By taking all the productive ministries. And as I go, as I close in terms of this, I want to talk about the police, to just piggyback on the point of the police situation. Did you hear Dennis O'Brien Chang today saying that, Kevin O'Brien Chang, saying today that the people must wear blue in support of the police. And when you hear Kevin O'Brien Chang speak, you know that these people are really paid for actors.
Exactly.
Because Kevin O'Brien Chang is the operator, the chairman of the pharmacy company. What they call the pharmacy company there? And
Fontana Pharmacy.
Fontana.
Fontana.
Right. Where Fontana is on Waterloo Road is a cholera cemetery land. You hear what I say? It's a cholera cemetery land. No properties were supposed to be built there. Nothing was supposed to be built there because it was condemned as being a cholera site, cholera burial site. In 2006, in 2013, he made application to the ministry. At the time, the lands would fall under the Ministry of Land. He made application for it, but it was really being controlled by the Ministry of Health. Because of its status, it had to be with the Ministry of Health and Environment. He got his approval in 2016, just as when the JLP win. And the minister to give him approval was none other than Minister Darrell Vaz.
Yes. We have an online here with us. Are you all hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
We have online here with us none other than veteran broadcaster and talk show host Conrad O'Brien. Conrad, welcome to the program. Hold on there. What's going on here? Go ahead.
How are you doing, man?
Hanging in
Good
there,
night, Conrad.
Bless up yourself, Conrad. Fireman.
I don't know what's going on here. It's going in and out. Go ahead now.
Yeah, good night, Conrad, and good show. On sorry, I watched you on Portland Spice on Saturday. Good. You burned the fire, my friend.
Yeah, we're not hearing you. I don't know what's going on. We're not hearing you. Hold on there. Hold on. Let me see something here.
Double check your input and output, Jeffrey.
Okay. Try again, Connor. Right now.
Yes, you hear me now?
Yes, much
Loud
better.
and clear.
Oh Lord, it gone again.
No, I tell you.
No, it's not hung up on call because there's something wrong with the. I don't know what's going on with this. Hold on.
Ask him if he can come in on the live feed, Jeffrey. Can he come in on the live feed?
If I send the link, can you come on for 2 minutes on the link without showing your face? Like I send you the link. Okay. Mystic, take it away, Mystic, for a minute.
Okay, so let me just touch another area that we all should concern about as it relates to Andrew Holness Statutory Declaration. So I am asking you, Jeffrey, to bring up back the 2020 Statutory Declaration. This is something that I want to point out. And this is the bombshell of it all. that I want to go back to. So let us go back to the 2020 statutory declaration, and this time we are going on the asset side. We are going on the asset side. People to identify the bombshell into this statutory declaration. So scroll down to assets, total assets. So this is where Andrew Holness have serious problem. All right. If you see total assets, my people, you see total assets of $172 million, $506,402. Now, so let us argue now. As it relates to Zara Burton investigation, right? As it relates to Andrew Holness' house, right, at Beverly Hills, the Beverly Hills mansion, and based on the evaluator, at the time evaluated Andrew Holness' house for $200 million. Bear that in mind, people. $200 million. Now, let us shift to Juliet Holness, because remember that the Prime Minister and Juliet Holness filed together. If we go back to 2012, where Juliet Holness starts the apartment complex at that area there, head boy, can you the area of Juliet Holness, lease flat.
Lease flat, right, that's right.
When Juliet Holness started that apartment complex at lease flat, remember that Juliet Holness started it at 23 million Jamaican dollars. And so then over the period of time, right, as it relates to all the investment that Juliet Holness would have invested in it in terms of capital injection or what that is, right? We caught up with Juliet Holness in court, having a situation in court. And Juliet Holness actually identified the value, the cost, as it relates to his mansion when she was speaking to the judge. Juliet Holness said her $800 million, right, apartment complex, right, that she made reference to in 2021. Now, that is what we call a bombshell. Because if you look on the asset line, right, as it relates to the current market value, you know, remember we are talking about the current market value to be $800 million as according to Juliet. That is not reflecting in the asset line. And so then if you are to calculate as it relates to what Andrew Holness putting up for statutory declaration, right, as it relates to $172 million, let us check this. Andrew Holness' house as it relates to the evaluator at $200 million, the lease as according to the evaluator, and Juliet Holness, right, apartment complex, right, at $800 million. If you put that together, those two items together would be $1 billion. Then, and God earth, Andrew Holness, right, is showing a total assets of $172 million. This is something that the Integrity Commission, right, and I know that they are pursuing this. It can never be that your total assets as it relates to your 2020 statutory declaration being reflecting a $170 million. That need to explain when you have an evaluator stating that your house, right, your mansion in Beverly Hills, right, the lease, it never said the most, the lease it value is $200, right, million Jamaican dollars. And of course, when you see the nice stone wall cut in terms of all of that, that is very expensive, extremely expensive. So
Jeffrey.
Hold on for me, Conrad. Let's finish a point for me, Mr.
I want to believe as it relates to the evaluator, evaluating that for at least $200 million. And if we put together as it relates to Juliet Holness apartment complex, $800 million and $200 million there, quickly have $1 billion. So having the 2020 statutory declaration, right, showing 172 million, right, it is day and night as it relates to the truth. Yes, go ahead, Conrad.
We want to welcome Conrad O'Brien from News Talk 93 FM. Conrad, go ahead. Unmute your mic and go ahead, please. Unmute your mic.
Yes, I don't know if you guys seen my face and seen me looking quite tired, but I said I have to chime in for at least 5 minutes because, you know, and hail up Mystic and of course Mrs. Mystic and the whole clan, you know, head boy, everybody, you know, just greetings and salutation. You know, I want. Are you guys, you hearing me right? Correctly? Yes. All right. I just want to just quickly chime in and two things quickly. Saturday morning and certainly into today, we have ventilated, we ventilated it Saturday. The whole thing of Andrew Holness, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, suitability to be on the ballot going into the upcoming general election. And the majority of us basically come up with a resounding no. As a matter of fact, the only person on the panel, which you would expect that say he should be, was Marlon Morgan. But more and more we discuss these things and you come up with a revelation and you look at it, not from any political vantage point or any area of vindictiveness, you know, or grudge or bad manners, as some people like to say, but just from the mere aspect of good governance and decency. I believe that in short order, and I'm predicting this, I believe in short order, Mr. Holness is going to review, rethink, and say, no, in all honesty, I can't offer myself to the Jamaican people on the ballot going on the election. He's just not fit and proper. It's just not fit and proper based on all this cloud that is surrounding the PM. And outside of that, outside of the whole suitability in terms of the Prime Minister's own statutory declaration being unable to certify, not for 1, not 2, 3 years going into 4 years. Outside of that, when you examine the Prime Minister's stewardship, he's found wanting in so many other areas. Someone, I think Head Boy said earlier that, you know, we shouldn't even be discussing Mr. Holness being on the ballot in any decent democracy when you look at the whole statutory thing. But I go further. Based on Mr. Holness' own promise, he should not be the subject of the discussion going into the next election based on what he said he would do in the first 100 days. To look at term limit, and that term limit would be for 2 years, for 2 terms. And he certainly would have extended his time by now. You know, he would not be going into the election. So when you look at all of those things, you know, you see further, you look at the whole promise that the PM made, things that he would do. I tell you that today, driving into broadcast house. Yes.
Jeffrey and fellow panelists, I want to break a news coming out of Trinidad. So the former Prime Minister of Trinidad. No, I'm not hearing you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I'm not hearing you. Your mic.
Hold on a minute. You want to break a breaking news? We're gonna give it everything, you know, man. Go ahead. This is Make We Talk breaking news.
So, for breaking news, it has come to our attention, coming out of Trinidad, Keith Christopher Rowley has declared that the PNM has conceded the election to the United National Congress. As it is now, the counts are not totally completed, but the People's National Congress, when they went in the elections, had 22 seats, and the UNC had 19 seats out of the 41.
So is it not Kamala Bassasa per se, so is backing as Prime Minister?
Absolutely.
Indeed,
So we'll see a woman coming back as Prime Minister. So that is news out of Trinidad. The PNM has conceded defeat to the UNC. And this is to start the discussions that I did share when we started, when I was looking at the number. Every time the UNC has won in Trinidad, it's been a period when the PNP is coming back to power. Kamala Prasad Bisesa won 2011, same period when Portia Simpson Miller won the elections of 2011. So this is an interesting telltale. The PNM is no more, and Trinidad has its female prime minister once again.
Those two seats in Tobago, there are two main constituencies in Tobago that really we were looking at that would basically cast the die for Kamala Prasad Bisesa. It seems as if they have basically delivered. It seems as if they have delivered. They have delivered.
And those have been won by TPP. The UNC does not contest an election in Tobago, but the TPP has won, and they have pledged that they will join with the UNC in the parliament to also involve a coalition. But there are five marginal seats in Trinidad that if the UNC had won, they would be able to also flip. And they so far have projected to have won 3 out of those 5 seats. So that is why they won safely.
Indeed, and we're also watching up there in Canada. It seems as if the incumbent went into the election today with a 5% lead in the poll. You know, they basically made up ground because one would remember that they were behind, but because of the leader of the opposition party, closeness to Donald Trump and Donald's position and what he's saying he would do to Canada, you know, a lot of people have basically revolted, and it seems as if we could see the incumbent retain power there in Canada. So we watch and see that. But just to get back to our situation here locally, as I was saying, you know, when you look at the promises from the Prime Minister, he have felt so miserable on those. So that again would disqualify him for, you know, offering himself again. But I want to just segue quickly into what I heard. I think it was you, head boy, talk about the Fontana Pharmacy built on the old Cholera Cemetery and so on. And that as it may, you know, of course, businessman Kevin O'Brien Chang and his family, they will tell you that, listen, they have gotten the approval from government, and so they did nothing wrong. And we give that to them. But as it relates to the police, the demonstration, the protest that the human rights group will be staging tomorrow, Jamaica for Justice, I think it's really untidy and indecent to see the police basically, and of course, Fontana Pharmacy and the government come into this now to oppose that or to run justly against it. Because the fact of the matter is that there are absolutely 2 different mandates. The police force has a different mandate. The human rights group has a separate mandate to basically look at the whole business of how the police carry out their duty in the country. And certainly, it must be cause for concern to any one of us who are decent, law-abiding citizens. We're not saying that the police are just going out and taking out people, but on the face of it, there are major cause for concern. We're talking about almost 150 or 162% increase in police killing this year versus the same time last year. That must be concerning any respected democracy. And I am asking the question, I've been putting this out there for some time now. Has our gunmen, our young men, become more brazen? So they are, and become even more stupid. So they are using their 45 or their 9mm to take on police officers and even army men with AK-47 and policemen with M16. It seems a little bit odd to me. And as I always said to all of you who will listen to me, I make it known that there's nobody who has the back of the police officer in terms of wanting them to do well and fight against criminal, hoodlum, hard-nosed gunmen than myself, because I lost a brother my younger brother Peter. I lost him to gunman. He was a fledgling young businessman in Manchester, and they murdered him. So I know what I'm saying. I'm not a bleeding heart. I'm not a bleeding heart defending any gunman, contrary to what Senator Marlon Morgan has been saying, and want to paint us in that corner to say, listen, when we ask these questions, it's because we are supporting gunmen. No, we're asking these questions because we want a proper run country, and it bring into sharp focus, front and center, the whole business of the policemen wearing body-worn camera. And this must be put at the heart of the government, because the police are not just not wearing body-worn camera, but they're not wearing it because that's not been provided by the government of the day and mandated for them to wear it.
Yes.
Yes.
You want to say anything on that, my good friend Mystic?
Yes.
And also Marie?
You know, Conrad, having to hear what you just said a while ago, right? I want to break it down as it relates to specificity.
Yes.
Let us look into the specific of what Jamaica for Justice is dealing with. Jamaica for Justice is concerned, fireman, about extrajudiciary killing. They are not going against policemen carrying out their lawful duties.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so let us narrow it down for them. So then, are there evidence of extrajudiciary killing? Yes. Now, let's define it. When you look in an incident where someone being handcuffed, Conrad, right? And you have two policemen there. And as a result of the person resisting, the policeman fired 4 shots with the man handcuffed. What do we call that, Conrad?
It is blue murder. It is blue murder. And I tell you something, Mystic. There are a number of things, even outside of murder or killing by police, that need to be checked. We also saw beaming across social media. I think it was Jeffrey back me up here. Brenda's a little bit tired. one day last week where we saw this older gentleman, you know, big man, was beaten.
Hold on for me, Carlos. Here's the video.
They're bringing the crack and the gun to come mash up the youth them heart. Later on red. When you all a look, they wanna tea bread. I hear an ex you dead. Whoa, later on red. When you all a sick, they wanna
Let me stop it because of copyright for that song. You see what's going on in this country of ours? And Marlon Morgan have the nerve to be talking about this.
You know, yes, these are some other things, and all of us, you know, Jeffrey and panelists, everybody here, listeners, viewers, and pardon me if you're hearing the crack in my voice, because I'm quite passionate when it comes to these things, because it could be me, it could be me. It could be me. You guys could be looking on and see that I'm coming through any town center, any street in Jamaica, and police officer pull me out and beating me like this. Some of these guys could be my son. You know, so these are things that we all must be upset about. We must be upset about, and these things must go down in Jamaica. And you know, we're saying that, listen, it can't be that we are satisfied in living in what we're seeing emerging as a police state. It's untenable. And let's serve notice to anybody who form the next government that we will be as vociferous and as loud as we are now. So Marky G, I personally, I am absolutely sure I am prepared to bet my loss, whatever, to say that the PNP and Mark Golden will form the next government of Jamaica. It is absolutely clear. The die is cast. It's just a matter of days or weeks or months for the Prime Minister to call it, and the people of Jamaica go and do the business. The people of Jamaica have already made up their mind. The die cast. The people have basically see enough of Andrew Holness and the Jamaica Labour Party, enough corruption, enough illegality, enough overrun, enough of our people being lying on hospital floor and cardboard, enough of our people sitting in wheelchair for days upon days and cannot get a bed, enough of our people going further and further into poverty. We have seen where poverty is now higher in Jamaica today than it was in 2016 when Andrew Holness promised prosperity. Those are the things that are on the ballot, and the people are saying no more, no way, no way, no way. Enough of me for tonight, you know.
No, Conrad, continue. No, continue.
We get you, man. We love you for you, man. Get you.
Yeah. Listen to me now, man. You know, I tell people all the while, I say my late mother and father would not have me do anything less than what I'm doing, you know, in terms of nothing less than advocating for our brothers and sisters, right? For our brothers and sisters, right? But this seems to be the DNA of the Labour Party re-emerging over and over. We heard the Rasta man talking about he was one of those who was in the room, the 35, when Buster Manti gave the order and said that if the jail wasn't enough, there was a cemetery there to hold them. And that is why I abhor any man or any person. You don't have to be Rasta, but just the mere fact that you'll be wearing a locks or even beard on your face. How could you cast a vote for them people here? You crazy? Listen, man.
Fireman.
Yeah, man.
Don't move a muscle, because I want to just ventilate some of my concerns, because as it relates to what Jeffrey been speaking about as it relates to general election, which is very much important, right?
Hold on a second before you continue, Aaron. But as Conrad was speaking, I googled the human rights, the latest report from the US State Department about because human rights violations in the situation. What are the human rights issues in Jamaica? Significant human rights issues include credible reports of unlawful and arbitrary killings by government security forces, cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment by the government, harsh and life-threatening conditions in prisons and detention facilities, arbitrary arrest and detention, serious government corruption. So far this year, 106 Jamaicans have been killed by the police. Correct me if I'm wrong, O'Brien.
No, you're right.
Okay. Now, are you telling me, they said last year for the entire year, 189 Jamaicans were killed by the police. Now, if this current pattern continues, don't you see that there's going to be a very high number of Jamaicans killed by the police forces come the end of the year? But that's one thing. You cannot tell me, none of us around here are condoning criminal behavior or the criminal element. They must be dealt with. However, you cannot tell me that all 106 persons are criminals, are gunmen. Because if a person is a thief, is there any point in shooting him?
One sec. Even if we say that some of these guys have antecedent, we know for sure that those three, I think it's three young men in Eastern Kingston there, we know for sure that those young men at the material time wasn't doing anything and they were murdered in cold blood. The police officers are now in custody. So we are very much aware of that. So we're not guessing about whether or not some of the killing are extrajudicial. And that is why we're saying, listen, we are with law enforcement, we are with decent police officer, but certainly something seems awry. Go ahead, my sister.
Yeah, and also the lady, I was just talking to them earlier about that lady, that's Franklin, that young man Franklin, who was, I think it was St. Thomas that unaliving took place. When they went into the house, and I remember the lady was saying, "Come on, Franklin, come out of the house." And a policeman officer said to her, "Where am I come out for?" And somebody, as they were having these conversations back and forth, the people gathered and everything because the police was on hand. And they were saying, if he doesn't come out, they're going to kill him. And they went in, and that's exactly what happened. And I don't remember if you remember Conrad, I think it was last year, where this young man was taken out of his house. All these police were there, and he walked and he was taken out behind where nobody could see, and all you hear was one shot. Okay, but they didn't know that they had a camera in the house. There's a camera, and the footage showed exactly what happened. And they say, "Oh, it was a shootout." And this is the problem that I'm saying that there, because what you find is that you have criminals with badge and gun. Because a lot of these young men who otherwise would be in criminal activity are basically in the police work. I am not saying the JCF don't have good people. They have good people in there, but there are many bad apples that are tarnishing the reputation of the JCF.
I would be prepared to say the majority of the JCF members are decent, law-abiding men.
Yes, they're decent. I believe so. And the problem I have is you have the commissioner who gives them carte blanche to abuse the Jamaican people. You have the Minister of National Security who gives them carte blanche to abuse the Jamaican people, and you have the Prime Minister who give them carte blanche to abuse them Jamaican people. So when you have these three persons in leadership positions making the kinds of statements that they have made about the Jamaican people, this is an election year. Tell me why young people should keep Andrew Holness in office? To what? To keep killing off their brothers and their sisters and their cousins and their aunts and their uncles? How many more mothers must wail like that mother in St. Thomas for her child? Even if you, like you say, many of them have antecedents. Can't you bring them in and try them? Isn't that why you have a judicial system for? If the person stole, can't that person be taken in and tried? Why is it that the only resort is to analyze these people? It cannot be. And anybody who sits down, again, will not condone criminal behavior. You have to also put yourself in the position of that parent and of that person. Yes, and that person who is the victim of a criminal element, and the mother whose child is not a criminal.
And that is why it pains my heart so much when you look outside of the realm of killing now. When you look at this gentleman, what could that gentleman have done? You have him in your custody, He wasn't trying to get away. You have him in your custody. And you're there heralding hits after hits on the gentleman for what? If he even stole something, which we don't know. Let's say he stole something. We don't know that, but the fact is that you now have him in custody. Why beat him? Why beat him?
And not only that, Conrad
and that
O'Brien,
man could be their father. That man could be their father,
And not only that, Conrad and Marie and Mystic Sensation. This same person, no other than Marlon Morgan, has not condemned the beating of this man, has not condemned the beating of the student, has condemned the police beating another student because they want to go into the student phone. Or he's gonna say to the Jamaican people, they must go out. What is this? You mistake, but what is this? Is Jamaica becoming a dictatorial state?
Definitely. You're seeing all the signs. Look here, Jeff. Now we are going into a general election, and I wanted to just hear Fireman and Mario opinion on this as it relates to the concerns that we have as it relates to general election. Now, when we see number one.
Hold on there for me. And when we do this now, we have to wrap up because I've been on my feet from about 2 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
Wrap up. Go ahead.
When we see number one, a Daryl Vaz breaching the closing period of the local government election in Portland. Number one to concern with. And there was no consequence up until this point. No consequence. Right? Daryl Vaz himself extended the time from 5 p.m. when it's supposed to be closed up until 9 p.m. No consequence of that because obviously there's no ombudsman to address that situation. Number two, we have seen where you have a Darren recycling back into representational politics after criminally convicted. And where the system apply the lesser punishment, the ones that's supposed to land him out of the political realm, right? They take that away. Look at that. Number three, the political rhetoric from some prominent GLP member that they will not allow the PNP to take over the reins of government. And number four, the electoral office under the control of a rogue government, which we all know. So on those four premises, are we to prepare for a 1982.0? What say you on that, Fireman? Fireman, not hearing you, Fireman.
Yes, I hear your concern. And it is a concern that, some people harbors. Certainly, we are seeing where the billboards and all of those things of the PNP candidate have been torn down and so on. And, the political ombudsman office is needed no more than ever to basically be the referee out there. As it relates to we seeing that 2.0 1980, I'm not there. I think we have somewhat more checks and balance in the system, with the advent of the ECJ and so on and so forth. I believe that what we must prepare for is to see a very, very tough campaign. And, it's going to behove people to be on their P's and their Q's because heavy spend could be a part of the reality in the upcoming election. But one of the things that I am also confident in our people, because I've seen it in the past. I remember going into the 2011-2012 election. Daryl Vaz himself was the treasurer for the Jamaica Labour Party. And he said that the JLP was never more awash with cash going into that election. Example, a massive meeting was held in Mandeville Square, town of my birth. And the meeting was carked the Sunday evening. The Monday morning, the National Solid Waste Management Authority did not have enough trucks to pick up green shirt that the people should just take the $5,000 or whatever it is and throw them away. And the rest was history. Portia Simpson Miller and the PNP went on to win 42 to 21 seats in the House of Representatives. So Jamaican people have a way that when their minds are made up, they will go out and they will do the right thing. But I take your concern. And as you mentioned, that very egregious situation, and it has not been addressed properly to date. where that polling station was allowed to go on for extended period. I believe that there was some explanation given, like, boy, there was something that caused some people there not able to vote, so as a result of that they gave some reprieve. But I really kind of scoff at that, and it's something that you really have to, guard against. So the PNP, a major part of the PNP mantra going into this election will be security. They will have to be up on security and watching everything like a hawk. Their workers, their indoor agent, their indoor and outdoor agent will have to be sharp on the curve to watch every single activities that are taking place. Because let me tell you something, based on what we're seeing with this government, with the allegation of corruptions, if the PNP goes into office and carry out proper forensic audit, I believe that some of these guys may be shaking in their boots and saying that, boy, maybe they will have a prison term. So, that's my take.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Solid.
I want you to we're gonna wrap up, but I want to do something before we wrap. I want to play this before we wrap.
The One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation and its global supporters cordially invite Jamaicans abroad and abroad to its inaugural reconnection on June 21st, 2025 at the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center in Kingston, Jamaica. Bring your entire family for a day of food, fun, entertainment, and information. Get an understanding of the Constitution and the skills necessary to exercise your rights and your civic responsibilities as Jamaican citizens. You can't afford to miss this inaugural Reconnection Rally, June 21st in Kingston. Tune in for further information and updates to Reason with Radigan on YouTube and reggaeglobalradio.com, Saturdays at 3 p.m. New York time and at 2 p.m. in Jamaica. See for yourself.
So there you have it. We will be a protest in the sense of what is going on in Jamaica. And also, please go over to change.org and sign the magnificent petition. Do not donate to anything over there. You don't have to pay to sign in. Nothing like that. Do not donate to change.org. Go over to the One Legal Jamaica Defense Fund, One Legal Jamaica Defense Foundation, rather. That's where you donate, not to change.org. Do not donate any money to change.org. You only sign the magnificent petition over there. So basically, they're gonna be a fun day in the sense of a protest that is going on in Jamaica, and to see what we can do. I tell you something, we have been doing things over here. I'm pretty much sure the Jamaican people need to get up now and do something. And I hope that tomorrow, when Jamaicans for Justice go out there, you all join Jamaicans for Justice, because you all are facing the pans of hell.
Indeed, Jeffrey, and in closing, I'll have a few things to say on the whole thing tomorrow in my opening commentary. I'm hoping to have Deacon Espute joining me tomorrow sometime during the program. I want to talk to him to look at the election going forward, because he has some views there that is very, very telling. I heard him on another radio program this morning, and I was quite interested in what he had to say. So I'm going to try and see if we can have him on News Start 93 FM tomorrow. Hopefully my producer had reached out to him so far, so we'll have him, because I think he had some interesting things to say.
Right, and also I just want to say thanks to everyone who came on the program this afternoon, tonight here. My good friend Mystic Sensation, who, believe you me, he knows how to do investigative journalism, and I think he took over from the late Wilmot Mutty Perkins, my icon, who I look up to. And I want to say this to you, Mystic, that you are doing a great job on your program when it comes on to investigative journalism. You are doing a great job, and I think you know, if I can have you over here like every other Monday, I would appreciate it. Or every Monday, if you can, I would appreciate it. But you know, in all what is going on in our country, we face some very serious challenging times in our country. Serious times in our country.
Yes.
And we need to stand up for this piece of rock of ours. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., the Minister of National Security will be giving his presentation in the Parliament tomorrow. We'll be bringing that to you live. And also want to bring a message to you that was sent to me from the Communication Director of the People's National Party.
The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
In 2020, you promised the Jamaican people 70,000 NHT homes by 2025. But after 9 years as Prime Minister, only 14,741 homes have been delivered. And in the current 5-year term, only 7,950 NHT homes have been delivered. So of the 70,000 homes you promised, 10,000 were to be for young people aged 18 to 35, and 30% were to be reserved for public sector workers. You have failed to deliver on both of those promises for young people and public sector workers.
It's breaking, Jeffrey, not coming through clearly.
Social houses per year. Yet fewer than 300
the clip is breaking, and
in 9 years.
It's breaking on your end, Conrad. Conrad, hold on. It's breaking on your end.
Our $1 billion Young Owners Fund will be replenished annually from ending the annual $11.4 billion raid on NHT. And our fund will benefit 2,000 young people per year. That's 10,000 young people who will benefit in our first term in office. The People's National Party has a comprehensive, affordable housing plan to provide real solutions for all Jamaicans when we form the next government. Some of our key initiatives include: 1. Ending the annual $11.4 billion raid of NHT's funds. 2. Building 50,000 affordable homes over the next 5 years. 3. Launching the Young Owners Fund with $1 billion annually from the resources of the NHT, which will offer $500,000 grants to first-time buyers aged up to 35 years and will benefit 10,000 young people over a 5-year period. 4. Introducing our rent-to-own program for those who are not formally employed and can't produce a payslip, and those who don't have sufficient savings to cover a deposit on a house. 5. We will restore public sector workers access to reduced NHT interest rates on borrowings, and we will introduce a higher debt service ratio of 40% to allow public sector workers a bigger mortgage. And we'll also give them a 3-month moratorium before mortgage payments begin after they buy a house. 6. We will remove the insurance costs for low-income NHT borrowers who earn $30,000 per week or less. And 7. We will exclude the land value from the price of NHT houses, reducing house prices by up to $3 million to contributors. Jamaica deserves better. Call the election, Prime Minister. The people are ready. Time come.
Visit our website at pnp.org.jm or check us out on Facebook at Jamaica PNP.
I want you two to wrap up. 3 of you, Marie, Mystic, and Conrad. Let's wrap up this program here now. Your final word, Marie, before you go.
Thanks, Jeffrey. And my greatest prayer for the Jamaican people is that they vote for policies and not personality. They have, the Prime Minister cannot keep talking about 18 years and PNP. No, he has to talk about what he has done in the past 9 years. And if he had done anything that was worth campaigning on, he wouldn't be talking the way he is. And the fact of the matter is, he inherited a political system of checks and balances that worked, and he has taken a wrecking ball to it, and the Jamaican people have to stand up, vote him out to preserve the democracy that he inherited and is now abusing, and to also learn their rights and stop, for the love of God, stop letting them vote for $5,000 on a box food because they are treating you accordingly. They have nothing but contempt for the Jamaican people, and it's the Jamaican people for them to say to the Jamaica Labour Party, enough. We are going to treat ourselves the way we desire to be treated by voting in people who treat us accordingly, but cannot continue with Andrew because he has no respect for the Jamaican people.
Thank you. Mystic, go ahead.
All right. When we look on the political history pertaining to the Jamaica Labour Party over the years as it relates to corruption, right, we have on document, right, on record, facts that over 9 members of parliament from the Jamaica Labour Party have put through the judiciary system, found guilty, and sent to prison from 1954, right, up until the last one, Jack Smith. Now, what that goes to show that if you look deep in history as it relates to the PNP administration in power, PNP administration always aimed to push the nation forward as it relates to nation building, as it relates to the structure and the root of democratic socialism. Now, having said that, we constantly hearing Jamaica Labour Party try to define 18 years of the People's National Party, right, as according to them, as no growth and non-productive. But my Jamaican people, I am telling you, we have history, we have record of P.J. Patterson, a political icon, of all prime ministers that went through the hemisphere of our political history. There is none other than P.J. Patterson, who had delivered multiple social programs. Now, when we look on the Jamaica Labour Party in 9 years, of all the items that Andrew Holness had promised, that's why Fireman is so passionate now. Because he burned him. Not one had been delivered. So I am telling my Jamaican people, as a manly eyes, make sure you prepare to ride the People's National Party train and put the X beside the head. And I yield back.
All right. Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for having me this afternoon, Jeffrey, this evening. I just quickly say that today on radio, I have the privilege of basically reading excerpt from the Jamaica Gleaner. On the front page of it beams a message from the Prime Minister saying that the people of Jamaica, if they want housing, they should vote for the Jamaica Labour Party. And there has the temerity to even try to match his record or the Jamaica Labour Party record with the PNP in housing. Now I want the people to basically be discerning. There is, the other day I was saying that people must be wise in their wheezy. Use your head. Right? And basically look at it. Even the housing mantra that the Prime Minister is carrying, the reason why he is able to carry it is a PNP-ism from within the 1970s called the National Housing Trust. Therefore, when you look at everything and you analyze it, you must do the right thing. The truth is that Mark Golden and the PNP, in their budget presentation, caught the Jamaica Labour Party and Andrew Holness off guard, and they roll out policy position for young people, for handcart owner, handcart men, vendors, hairdressers, barbers, everybody, those persons at the lower quintile to get a house through the rent and own and other aspect of home ownership for young people. And the JLP find itself in a tailspin. After 9 years, Andrew Holness and his government is found wanting. Time come. When him call it, do what you have to do. God bless you.
Blessings. Stay strong, fireman. Blessings.
Respect, Joe.
All right.
And I just want to say thank you all for coming on.
All right.
Thank you
Welcome.
very much, Mystic Sensation. Sorry.
No problem, Jeffrey. You're more than welcome. And have a good evening, everybody, and Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Mystic, we shall speak. All right, head boy and fireman.
All right.
And to everybody in the chat, a blessed and restful night.
All right.
Mystic, thank you very much.
Welcome, man.
Yes. This is where we're going to say so long for tonight. I want to say thank you all for joining the long extended program of the Current Affair program right here on the Make We Talk program. But remember that the One Legal Jamaica Defense Foundation is having a protest in Jamaica. Here we
The
go.
One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation and its global supporters cordially invite Jamaicans abroad and abroad to its inaugural reconnection on June 21st, 2025 at the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center in Kingston, Jamaica. Bring your entire family for a day of food, fun, entertainment, and information. Get an understanding of the Constitution and the skills necessary to exercise your rights and your civic responsibilities as Jamaican citizens. You can't afford to miss this inaugural reconnection rally, June 21st in Kingston. Tune in for further information and updates to Reason with Radigan on YouTube and reggaeglobalradio.com, Saturdays at 3 p.m. New York time and at 2 p.m. in Jamaica.
See for yourself.
Join us tomorrow for a live broadcast from Garden House with a sectoral debate. The presenter will be the Minister of National Security, Dr. Harris Chang. Be live on the Make We Talk program at 3 o'clock. Hopefully, we'll bring it to you live. I want to say thank you all for coming on. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Thanks to my my moderator in the chat room, Walking in Divine Purpose. Thanks to everyone who came on the program. Thank you all very much. Thanks to Mystic Sensation, Marie, Head Boy, Robert Finzi-Smith. I must apologize for Corporal Rohan James. He wasn't able to make it. Thanks to everyone who came on. Head Boy, you have been a great source of help as usual. Thank you all very much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Until you hear my voice again, may God bless you. May God continue to bless our island home, Jamaica land we love. Have a great night, everyone. And please do something to assist each other in whatever way we can. God bless.
The Prime Minister just needs to fly the gate. Call it, Andrew. Call it. And Iman will sound the trumpet.
Whether you're Labour right, PNP, regular Jamaican who just want to vote for a change, you see the next election here will come up under no circumstances whatsoever can you vote in back the Jamaica Labour Party into government.
I do not believe that the Jamaica Labour Party is a party that is humanitarian. I don't think they think about the human factor.
Do you think that the opposition has a chance in the next general election?
The best chance the opposition ever know. I think that charisma
is exactly
Andrew beat, but if you have a look at intelligence, Mark Golden is no disrespect to Brogan, and I hope nobody will take this as no. But if you look at basic understanding and basic conversation, like Andrew Holness, we say this something nicer. Mark Golden is more of the people than Andrew Holness. I think that Andrew Holness is very pretentious. You understand me? I think that he plays the part of the man of the people better. Underemployment is worse than unemployment. Because if you're working less than what it costs you to live and go to work, that is underemployment.
Remember, Randy used to tell us that every meal you come up.
No, and I say go. But if you have to use 5 meal to get 1 muckle, it don't make no sense. You understand me? I say? Them conversation are a political conversation. Them conversation are a life conversation.
Dear Mr. Prime Minister, it's almost 9 years since you took over the country. Name yourself Brogard while basking in election glory. Little did we know that you would matriculate to becoming Jamaica's first Prime Minister to lead a heist on taxpayers' money. With a whopping 28 bank account, you laugh and skin your teeth while bolt head hang low in this national defeat. I remember when you tell with a Tanawi yard, leaving Jamaicans sitting in limbo. Even before that, you promised me could leave open my door and my window. You take your wife turn Madam Bully of the Parliament, showing Jamaicans who is the real man, whether in or outside an agreement. You raise your pay to a higher standard, while teachers, doctors and nurses leave yard to go look work abroad. Mr. Prime Minister, me don't know if you see it. Maybe you're blind. Cause between me and you, Jamaica is singing a new song. Cause it's about time. Time for a new direction. Time for a new leader. Time for a change. So take it from me, Mr. Prime Minister. Light a candle, sing a song, and find your way back home. Yours cross, angry, miserable, a patriotic Jamaican.
The Prime Minister just needs to fly the gate. Call it Andrew, call it, and Iman will sound the trumpet.
Whether you're Labour right, PNP, regular Jamaican who just want to vote for a change, you see the next election here will come up under no circumstances whatsoever can you vote in back the Jamaica Labour Party into government.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey. We're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people.
Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk.